2, 1. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Attack the Talk. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Sunday. We have joining me, of course, I am AJ, your host, and joining me is...
I'm Lexi.
This is Lexi, my sister and co-host. And also joining us is our TikTok guru, our friend, our Attack the Talk Levi Squad member, Kyron himself.
Hello,
and
Kyron.
We wanted to ask you, my friend, how you're doing, and you responded saying that I am doing good. Did a hike today. Took 3 hours. Whoa, that is dedication right there, my friend. Wow. But it's always nice to go ahead and just be outdoors.
I hope it was pretty. I hope it was like a beautiful location. You
know what? Me too. Yeah, I hope it was beautiful.
I hope it was therapeutic.
You know what? A lot of us so often forget to just go outside. You know. And just enjoy nature, enjoy the fresh air, or if you have fresh air around you, a lot of times the air isn't so fresh. But I'm gonna switch it up. I don't think we need to hear perfect cell. Very pretty and very sweaty. Yeah.
Okay, it was very pretty and sweaty.
Love it.
I was like,
that was perfect cell. You know perfect cell, huh?
I know because of you.
Yeah, that's that Dragon Ball Z stuff right there. But all right, guys.
Ball Z.
Here we are. Hey, friend of the show, Eddie, joining us. Also,
Eddie.
another member of the Attack the Talk Levi Squad.
How are you doing, Eddie? How are
Please,
you?
Eddie, tell us, how are you doing? And are you ready to get tortured by Premier Zachary? Of course, we're going to go ahead and cover that in all of its glory. Yeah, it's such a strange scene. I can't wait for us to go ahead and get an in-depth description about it. Lovey, what's up?
Hello, Lovey.
Hope you're doing well too. Wow, it's so nice to be surrounded by our friends.
Aw, hi guys.
We love you all so much. Yeah, guys. Man, you know what? I would say strap yourselves in, but again, that's probably in reference to that chair that we're gonna go and see. But strap yourselves in, guys, because we're in for a big episode. And yeah, I mean, we're gonna talk about a lot. As I mentioned, we're going to talk about, of course, the torture chair, which Premier Zachary is oddly enough very excited about. And then we're going to cover some other stuff. We're going to cover some origin stuff, which is going to be very exciting. As you guys can see, we named this the stream Ackerman Clan, and that's because we're going to get some more information about and more understanding about the Ackermans and the last name and how. And their abilities and why they're so powerful.
The lore, the Ackerman lore.
So we're excited for that. Kyron is informing us saying that over on TikTok, I got this guy willing to make us a background. Whoa, what?
A background AOT
instrumental for the stream. What? No way. Wow, Kyron's doing big things.
Cool.
He asked if we wanted to get a sample from the show. And I told him I'll discuss it over with you both. Yeah, I mean, if he wants to go ahead and send us a sample, we would surely love that. Yeah. I mean... Wow,
do you have a TikTok that you could like maybe send over to me of this guy? Because I would love to check out his work and everything too. Yeah. Like, gosh, that'd be so cool.
And we're definitely interested. Kyron, you are the man. As I said at the start of this episode, he is our TikTok guru. And of course, our friend. And Kyron, you are so awesome, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we have all discussed about the goal, right? And the striving of just growing this thing, man. And just having us... really taking step by step, right? And then just growing this podcast together. And man, your guys is the fruits of your labor, it doesn't go unnoticed. And obviously shout out to everybody else. We know that Eddie also too goes in, he shouts us out a lot. He goes and he spreads the word and stuff, and I appreciate all you guys so much just for really drawing attention to the podcast and trying to get as many friends as we can, because I mean that's what it's about, guys. It's about building this awesome community to where we can go ahead and just get as many friends as possible and just talk about Attack on Titan, get into some goofy discussions, get into some really, really interesting discussions, and then just let our brains flow with this Attack on Titan knowledge. That's just what it's about, guys.
Of course.
So yeah. Kyra says, I know I meant to use a specific sample. Okay, he wanted to get a sample from the show. Yeah, in terms of what we want to get. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, like Attack on Titan soundtrack instrumental. Is that what you mean, Kyron? That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And yes, send me a video. Yes, please.
Awesome.
Thank you, Kyron. Thank you. You are the man.
Shout out to you, Kyron. You're awesome, man. Thank you so much. But yeah, guys, as I mentioned, this is going to be a big discussion. Big discussions, I should say, in this episode. because this episode specifically, and we're continuing season 3, episode 6. Episode's name is Sin, and this is part 2, right, of our episode breakdown and discussion. And this episode is really broken down into a lot of key little moments, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't focus purely on one thing, right? In this last half of this episode, it's spreading out the story, right? So yeah. I'm not ready to get tortured by Zachary.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody is. But yeah, guys, it's gonna be fun to talk about that, of course. And of course, you guys know the drill. We got to go ahead and get into the Q&A and the poll results, and that's always exciting. We always love doing that. But before we do that, of course, we got to go ahead and give you guys a little spoiler warning, which we do before every episode, and that's just to kind of get that out of the way, a little disclaimer, right? Because we know that the goal here is to just talk about Attack on Titan, and we would absolutely hate for any of us just to go ahead and spoil anything for anybody, because we know that once we get those reveals and we see them for the first time, it's just amazing, right? Like, there's nothing better than just getting those crucial, important plot twists, little just mind-blowing moments. So we don't want to spoil those for anybody. And so for anybody who has not caught up, right? Huge spoiler warning. Yeah, because we love talking about spoiler stuff.
Yeah.
Especially when whatever we're talking about really, really correlates with something that happens later on down the line.
Because you know how Attack on Titan be. All the foreshadowing moments.
Oh, yeah. There's always foreshadowing moments.
Like the whole thing with like Hanji's eye and...
Yeah, and that's something that we actually are going to focus on next episode, which is, I noticed that watching the preview, and that's something that Kyron also, alluded and brought attention to us, is that specific detail that just glosses over all of our minds and stuff, right? We kind of forget about it. But man, when you go ahead and see blood splatter over across her eye as if it's already giving her a little eye patch, it's like, okay, there's some foreshadowing there.
Get used to not being able to see.
Yeah. So again, shout out to Kyron for bringing the attention of that moment to us. And of course, we're going to talk about that next week. But yeah, we go ahead and... there's certain moments, like Lexi said, that they always happen throughout these early episodes where they really are foreshadowing some stuff that happens later on. And so whenever they foreshadow, we have to talk about it here in the podcast. It's what we do, man. We go ahead and we talk about it. We want to try to do as much in-depth discussions as we can. We want to go ahead and really break down these episodes and analyze crucial moments, and that's what makes the podcast fun. There's no glossing over stuff here. Yeah. None of that. All right. And if you guys have anything...
We actually talk too much about the stuff.
If we gloss over anything and you guys see that we're glossing over, make sure you guys, just, hey, give us a heads up. Be like, whoa, something important there. You guys go ahead and bring that attention to us, as you guys have done plenty of times already before in past episodes, which we love. Again, we talked about how we love getting informed, more information and more knowledge about Attack on Titan. We love learning some more stuff. But yeah, guys, want to go and get that disclaimer out of the way. Of course. So, Lexi, do you want to go ahead and did Kyron send you the thing? Did you want to go ahead and discuss that now, or for a future time? Or
gotten it yet?
Okay, no worries. So, what we can do is we can go ahead and I'll let you decide on whether you want to start with the Q&A or the poll question, and we'll talk about the results.
I am going to be starting with the poll. So last week we asked you guys, what is the most shocking memory Eren saw?
Yeah. And we know that he saw some very shocking memories. Yeah. That was such a crazy sequence of us getting the realization, getting the reveal, right? Yeah. Of getting what actually happened to his father. What actually happened, again, this episode's name is Sin. And what Sin, I think they are specifically referring to, right? Is Grisha's sin, right? So that's why we go ahead and we see.
That's even what Lord Rice says, to Eren is like, have you seen your father's sin? Yeah. Have you seen it now? Because in the last episode, we see that Eren comes in, or they come in contact with Eren, and they're of royal blood, so he sees all of this.
He sees the truth, and it's too much for him.
And I think that would be too much for anyone. That is a lot. So just to narrow it down, the 3 options we gave you guys are Grisha murdering the Rice family.
Yes. Oof.
Which, the second one is seeing his pure Titan, seeing Eren's pure Titan.
Okay.
And then the last is eating his own father.
Man, those are all moments where, can you imagine you being this preteen, right?
Yeah.
He's essentially a preteen. Maybe you can consider him a teenager.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have these royal bloodline members touching you over on your shoulder blades.
Yeah.
And just boom, next thing you know, you're just zoomed into these memories and you see these things very clear as day.
Yeah.
Like you're the one that are doing, like you're the person who's
like it's
committing these
like
actions.
Your point of view.
Right? And you see, as our first option, right, is you see your own father squishing, murdering, stomping out like children.
That's not even to add that, like, we didn't include this as an option, but even just like finding out that your dad is a Titan.
Yeah, I mean,
like even that alone is shocking enough,
shocking
and that's where his memory starts.
Yep,
it starts with being like, oh yeah, your dad's a Titan, and that's not the most shocking part. Wait till you hear this.
Yeah, and then we have that shocking moment, right? Again, just imagine seeing your own father in Titan form, like Lexi mentioned. Whoa, my father's a Titan.
Yeah,
in Titan form, killing people, right? And then the next moment is you somehow see yourself being injected with this weird serum.
Yeah.
And you see yourself transforming into a pure Titan.
Yeah.
And he is an ugly little dude, you know, ugly, angry little dude,
He's
you know?
like,
He's like, oh my God, that was so hideous. Right?
Literally looks like a toddler.
And then
like a toddler with a full set of teeth.
Yeah.
Like that is weird.
And he's even got little like pointed ears and stuff too, you know, it was weird. Made it seem like he's this little devil, you know?
Yeah, he's like this little like gremlin. Yeah, that's what it is.
He would be the island. He's like the mascot. He's the island devil, right?
Yeah, that's the high school mascot, the island devil.
Yeah, there you go. The parody island devils. Yeah, for sure. But
if someone were to parody, that would be their high school mascot.
Can you imagine that just in like a little like mascot uniform? There's like this little like uniform
ears.
of Aaron's
the like
form.
Big googly eyes and the big old mouth.
Yeah,
but he's got like the little like almost like a buzz cut, like a little bit longer than a buzz cut going on.
Yeah, so that's obviously very shocking. But then of course, you know, to kind of take things another weird kind of step is you see your own Titan form eating somebody. It's not just somebody, it's your father. So let's go ahead and let's see what the results are.
Yeah, so starting in normal fashion from least voted to most voted.
Okay.
We have at 10% Aaron seeing his own pure Titan.
10%, that is the bottom. Okay, yeah, and that makes sense.
Yeah,
right, in terms of
with what is involved.
Yeah, with what's involved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then next we have with 23% Grisha murdering the Rice family.
Wow, 23, huh?
Yeah, 23%, which means that with an overwhelming 67% of voters voting for the most shocking memory Aaron saw was him eating his own father.
Yeah, and I think our friends got it right.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, we were when me and AJ were trying to figure out what the poll question should be and what the option should be. We like talked about how it was like, oh, I feel like we know which one is going to be most voted for.
But how can we make it interesting?
Yeah, but it's nice to see the differentiation and see that it's not everyone. It's 67%. Yes, it's most.
And so no shame to anybody who voted for the other options, of course, you know? I mean, this is all up to your own interpretation and what you feel like. If you were in the situation, what would be most shocking to you, right? And sometimes people don't think about it that way, which is fine. You know, you don't put yourself in the person's shoes, but, you know, however you vote, I mean, just the fact that you guys are voting for these polls, we appreciate it anyways. But yeah, no shame in whatever your poll choice was.
Of course, because they're all like we talked about. They're all so shocking.
They're all very shocking, for sure. So let's go ahead and let's talk about these shocking moments. Of course, again, we kind of alluded to them as we explained, you know, the choices. But from now, the 10%, right? We're talking about Aaron seeing his pure Titan form, right?
Yeah.
His seeing the mascot, right?
Yeah, the mascot.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Of course, that would be the least voted. Because of what the other options are, as we just described. But
in comparison,
how do you think he felt though?
Seeing that, first seeing that, and being like,
getting
that's me.
That reveal, right? Because again, this is a character that has so much disdain and so much hatred towards Titans, and you go ahead and not just
see yourself as one.
You're obviously he's aware that he is a Titan, right? Because he transforms into a Titan, right? We know that he has the AttackOnTitan, right? But he never saw himself as a pure Titan. So for him, that was never in his memory. And now that he sees the truth, how do you think he took that? You know, where it's like, whoa, what the? I mean, I understand he's getting so much all at once, but for that specific moment, what do you think?
I feel like again, like you mentioned, there's a lot happening, so there's a lot of like not even knowing what to feel.
Yeah.
But Kyron has a good analysis here. Yeah. He says seeing the pure Titan would be the most shocking to me because it's like my future is destined to be horrible. Yeah, and I mean, ironically enough, Aaron's future that is, spoiler, decided by himself, is destined to be this way. And I guess in this, the Aaron that we're reviewing right now, this Aaron, he obviously seeing this is like not even really knowing what to just like you were saying, having such disdain towards Titans, and then just seeing like, oh dang, like my father turned me into one. I was one. What the heck is that? And then like
that's got to be going through your mind. And then only
going through like more questions of like, okay, again, who did I eat? Like, what's going on? Why did I change? When did I change? And
well, another thing too is that like, not to mention that he is a Titan, but the fact that his own father transformed him into a Titan, that's got to be like going through his mind, like, why would he do that to me?
Yeah.
You know, like why
bro,
would
we
he do
hate
that to
these
me?
Fools. Why are you doing this?
And then, to this point here, is Aaron aware, like the other ones? We know that the Levi squad, right? Hanji is informing them about like some theories and stuff, right? Hanji's on the right track about how how they acquire powers. Yeah, acquire powers, right, and stuff. So
and are able to transform back and forth. You're right.
Aaron
might
is
not be aware
essentially trying to connect the dots himself right now, right, by seeing that, right? Okay. But again, that's got to be very shocking. Just not just seeing your own Titan form, but seeing your own father transforming you into a Titan, right? So I guess that kind of goes hand in hand with that specific category. Yeah. And then now to go and talk about the second shocking option that we have that got, what was the percentage? 23%, and that was Grisha murdering the Rice family.
The Rice family, yeah.
You know, obviously,
and it was in such a sad, gruesome way too.
Yeah.
Like we hadn't really seen anything that like non-merciful in terms of a Titan killing people. I think the last time we saw something like that was probably
Annie.
Yeah, Annie.
Yeah.
Like a group of people like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that.
But there's a reason why he was so, like, heartless towards it is because of the manipulation that was going on in his mind. You know, we understand like way later on down the line who's actually the master puppet there, right? But anyways, so that specific moment, I mean, it is difficult, and you can only imagine if, for any of us, if we saw our own father doing that, committing that action,
just like that's not even like that's not who I grew up with. Like, that's not my father. Like, it's not even like
Grisha is known amongst Shiganshina district as a doctor.
Yeah,
like there was this plague that he cured people, and he was known as this doctor who saved so many people. So you can imagine that this perception of Grisha is that he is someone who helps people, not somebody who is a Titan and kills people, But yeah, that's got to be so difficult to go ahead and process. Again, just seeing that that realization that your father's a Titan, right?
Yeah.
And
insane.
And unfortunately, though, I will say that Grisha, we would have liked for him to have killed one more Rice family member, but that sneaky Rod Rice, he knows how to go ahead and find a way.
Full of manipulation and gaslighting and all those other terms, toxic terms.
But then, of course, we have our clear winner.
Yeah.
Right. 67%.
67%.
Wow.
Aaron eating his own father.
And again, talk about shocking. If any of us were to go ahead and somehow see our past realization and go ahead and we're witnessing ourselves in Titan form, eating our father, like,
I think I would be most shocked by that too.
Questions.
Because I think it's at that point, like you were saying, Aaron doesn't really know that you have to eat. So I think he found that out, when he saw Grisha killing everyone, and when he took the founding Titan. It was like, oh, he ate her.
Yeah.
And then I think that's when he put it together. He was like, oh, I had to eat someone to get this. Who did I eat? And then puts it together, sees it obviously in front of him, eating his father. After wondering, where has he been? I woke up one day with this key. He must be nearby.
Yeah. And I will say too, though, there's a lot of discipline in Grisha. Because he obviously didn't have the founding Titan for long.
Yeah.
You know?
He was just like, yeah, I gotta
He literally just acquired it and he very quickly just transferred.
Gotta give this straight to my son.
And you got to think, maybe a lot of people would go ahead and want to maybe get a taste of that power a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
And kind of hold on to it for a little bit. But maybe he understood that time is crucial, doesn't have a whole lot of it, and he understands that there's already a breach anyways. So, he's going to have to go ahead and do...
It's now or never. I guess now's the time.
What, the plan is obviously Aaron's plan, right? We got to, he's got to go ahead and do it. But yeah, so... Thank you all so much for whoever voted, and we appreciate
thank you guys for all the votes,
of course. And now, of course, we have a Q&A.
Yes. So for the Q&A, last week we asked you guys, do you think that the kind-hearted Frida would have been a good founding Titan for humanity?
Yeah. So some context there is that Frida, again, as we describe her as kind-hearted, is it because that's how the public perception sees her, right? That's the public perception of Frida Rice, is that she goes and she cares for those that are considered lesser to her, the peasants. And we
saw that flashback, right? With Krista, just the way that she's treating Krista.
Yeah, just treating,
and still protecting her with the memories and everything. This
child who was considered a bastard, but Frida's still very kind-hearted and cares for her half-sister and goes and sees her. Yeah, she goes and wipes her memory clean because that is for historical protection. Safety, but it's very, very interesting to go ahead and find out from Rod Rice himself that, his daughter, Frida Rice, who was this very caring individual, acquired this ability that he describes as, just being this overwhelmingly powerful Titan, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, had untapped potential, was exceedingly better than Grisha's attack,
Titan, right?
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, due to lack of experience, that's where her downfall was. And so that's why we asked, hypothetically here, if she had maintained this Titan ability, right? We know that she obviously had years to go and be this Titan, because if she lacks experience, that means that she's not already a couple years into it, We understand that 13-year, timeline. So let's say she was like at least a year into it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe less. That she would have been a Titan for a while.
Yeah.
Right? And so kind of curious to see what some of our friends say.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and read some of the responses. Eddie, friend of the show, Eddie.
Alrighty. What does Eddie have to say?
He says, yes, although she held up the vow renouncing war, pretty selfish. Although she held up the vow renouncing war. Okay. Yes, although she held up the vow renouncing war.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah. Why are you so silent? It's making me uncomfortable.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you seemed like you were trying to understand it. You don't understand it?
No. I don't.
No, yeah. Eddie, if you can go ahead and elaborate a little bit on that, because it seems like Eddie is knowing something that we aren't too aware of, because I think there's another response that we get where it's like, man, you guys really know your stuff.
Yeah.
Because this vow renouncing war, right, is what Eddie is alluding to, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that just means that she's kind of like, in a sense, like Armin, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't want war.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's awesome.
So, like, she wouldn't really use it to... Okay, Kyron. So, like, I think what Eddie means is, like, yeah, she would have been a great founding Titan for humanity, but she wouldn't really want to fight anyways because she doesn't like war.
Yeah.
Like, she would have been great if she would fight, but obviously if she got taken and everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds like from Eddie, what he's saying is that she's a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah, that's what I'm understanding here.
But here's the thing, though, is that we see her, she's willing to go ahead and get her claws dirty because, if it involves her family, if anybody's going after her family, experience or not, she's going to go down without a fight. She's
definitely
going down, without a fight.
She's going down.
Yeah, she's going down, but she's going to fight, though. But she's going down.
But she is going down.
But yeah, he explains that I meant it as like she was cool, but the influence of the past founding Titan members still influenced her. Oh, gotcha. Okay, so she would be good, but she would be easily manipulated. Mm-hmm. Right.
Got it,
that makes sense because she obviously had a master manipulator in her father who is essentially going to be the driving force of her decision making, unfortunately. And so this hypothetical question, unfortunately, is tied to Rod Rice, right? Because that means that if Frida is still alive, I mean, that means that Rod Rice is still alive, of course. You know, I mean, obviously he's still alive, but there wouldn't have been any threat towards him.
Yeah.
And then I have this sneaky suspicion that had Frida not really listened to what her father wanted, he's got other kids. So he probably would have had his other kids, these other inheritors.
Next, move on.
Bloodline family members go ahead and probably eat and kill Frida.
Yeah, he would like pull some Endeavor type morality and
yeah, exactly.
like, you're not the perfect child.
You know, you're not the perfect child. We need to get to the next child. Yeah, and stuff. Yeah, and that's a sad thing to go ahead and mention. But unfortunately, from what we see with Rod Rice, is that we're not going to go ahead and be surprised that he wouldn't pull something as horrible and terrible as that.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much, Eddie, for explaining that.
Sorry for being slow.
We also know that Eddie loves to go and get in depth, and there's times where he has to have 2 responses, right? Because he's very limited with caps. So
yeah.
But shout out to Eddie for again just informing us on a lot of AOT specific moments.
Yeah, thank you, Eddie.
But I agree that as you explained that she is easily influenced, and yeah, especially with like these more, experienced members. I think that if somebody were to come across her path and they had some sort of experience and something very, very important to their resume, that she would be obviously very willing to listen to them. And I think she probably could be swayed, especially if her dad is on board. But yeah, thank you so much again, Eddie, for the response.
Next we have Portraits by KA, which is our other friend of the show, Kyron, who is here with us. Man. He says no, because somebody would have exploited her good nature.
So it's along the same lines here, but it's kind of like, Eddie said yes, right?
Eddie said yes, but...
Yes, but, so there is obviously that, but Kyron's saying no for the fact of pretty much the same reasoning, right?
Yeah, saying that because she's so kind-hearted, not really much of a fighter could be taken advantage of. Kindness, unfortunately, is weakness in war.
Yeah, and then, sometimes somebody who's so kind could be considered as very naive, and when they go ahead and see just the brighter side of things, and they are kind of turning a blind eye to all the nastiness, all the evilness and everything, right? It's like, because they're avoiding seeing that, they're not really knowledgeable in what it takes to really go ahead and win a war. And having a Titan power as powerful as the founding Titan, I feel like unfortunately you have to really be experienced and even sort of speaking like numb to warfare, and you can't let certain things really kind of affect you and your morals, right? And your decision making.
You have to be kind of numb.
With Frida, if something, and she knows she has to do something, and it's gonna hurt her, it's going to, hurt her heart and stuff. We don't know if she's going to she's gonna do it,
Yeah. Because even with Levi is even admitted I don't know what's right.
Yeah.
It comes a point where when you're in war, things become blurry.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know if Frida would know what to do maybe in that moment.
Yeah, I think she would, like we've seen from some of our other characters, just getting experience with combat and everything, is they would see them freeze in the moment, right? And then who's to say that Frida herself wouldn't freeze in the moment, and be thinking about trying to think of other ways to go about things, and then unfortunately, if you think too long and you freeze, the moment is going to slap you in the face, and if that slap is hard enough, it will kill you.
Yeah. Then sorry.
Yeah.
You lose, literally.
Yeah. So it's kind of along the same lines as what Eddie said, but Eddie's giving her a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, saying that he thinks that she could be, but Kyron is saying no, for the fact of what Eddie is afraid of, in terms of afraid of giving her that power and stuff. Yeah. So thank you so much for that, Kyron.
Yeah, thank you for that. Next we have Soul Castle Productions.
All right.
They say, I'd like to think so. Simple as that. I'd like to think so. And, I think we all would.
Yeah, and I think it's again
we all think about the hypothetical.
With Eddie giving her that little bit of the benefit of the doubt. It's kind of like with the same thing as that response. It's like, I'd like to think so because of what we know of her, right? And we only get a little bit of her because, you know, as we've talked about Alexa, this is another character that has potential to go ahead and really kind of sway
could really change the story.
Right? In a maybe more positive light, right? We see how the story spirals into like deeper despair, right? And then when you have these characters that are really, again, she's described as kind-hearted, we have this kind of positive
little spark of morality, and
this positive kind of mindset. I mean, you can't help but kind of think, how would this character really change the story? You know, if they would have survived. Obviously, Grisha put an end to all that, courtesy of Aaron's his manipulation, but yeah, I mean, again, I'm in the same boat too. Like, I would like to think so as well, you know, but again, we just don't know because this is all just hypotheticals here. We're all speculating, and
maybe one day we can meet Isayama and we'll ask him. Yeah, join us next week when we interview Isayama.
You know, we're gonna have so many questions for him.
I know.
You know?
Join us next week for our 10-hour episode with Isayama.
Yeah, our sit-down interview. That'd be awesome. Oh my gosh,
our all-nighter.
That would be
that would be actually
amazing, and
like getting
that'd be a dream
answers
come true. You
straight.
kidding me?
We would have so many questions though, and I guarantee he would answer questions with more questions. He wouldn't ever give us an answer. So thank you for that, Soul Capital.
Thank you so much.
Next we have friend of the show, Bobby7.
Ooh, all right, Bobby.
Bobby says, no, since she already displayed her choice under the influence of the founder in that season 4 flashback. No, since she already displayed her choice. Okay, I'm going to keep repeating it again. No, since she already displayed her choice under the influence of the founder in that season 4 flashback. Yeah, so
that's something that we would have to really revisit.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, and I'm sure
because we are aware that Bobby is much smarter than us. You know, and Bobby knows his stuff. Again, Bobby is another member of our Attack the Talk Levi squad.
Yeah,
right. Bobby has given us so much awesome insight through his responses to our questions, and this is just another one where it really kind of piques our interest. And like, man, you know what? We'd have to go ahead and revisit that
that flashback. Season 4.
But man, you know what? If it's already essentially foretold, right? And it's just, again, it's already written. She has
this like restraint to fight.
Yeah, if it's already written, you know, and I mean, that's what it is. And it's all what we've been speculating about her potential, you know, weakness and downfall. You know, Bobby is just telling us flat out that, hey, all of our worries, unfortunately, are correct. And she wouldn't fulfill it because of this, you know, flashback and stuff, right? Yeah. But yeah, again, it really just stems down to Frida just being a very, very kind person, and unfortunately, some people just aren't built to go ahead and have such important power. Yeah. You know, and
especially towards war.
And we've already seen how much it hurt her to have to go ahead and wipe Historia's memory.
Yeah, like just that alone.
If she's getting sad about that, then we already know if she had to go ahead and take out a whole, you know, army or take out, you know, whatever they could.
Yeah, she's not really a fighter.
Yeah, she's gonna go ahead and let that affect her mindset and everything and her decision making going forward. So, yeah, I think that as much as we appreciate Frida and her kindness, unfortunately, it is better that, you know, she died. It's sad to say, but yeah. What's up? Freedom. That is right. That's all that Aaron cares about. No doubt.
Is that hi say?
Hi say. Yeah.
Hi say, to be honest.
Yeah.
Hello. But yeah, that is our last response was Bobby's.
Awesome.
So thank you guys so much for all of your guys' answers. You guys stumped me a little bit this week. But
you guys know your stuff.
Yeah, you guys definitely know your stuff. And thank you so much for all of your guys' great insight, your wisdom. And I hope to hear more next week.
Oh yeah. We'll try to come up with a good question for you guys. There's times where, you know, me and Lex, we have to go ahead and you know, put our minds together and try to come up with an interesting question where we know that we're going to get awesome
the half
responses
episode that we reviewed.
Yeah, we try to keep it on theme with you know, with the episodes that we go ahead and we break down and discuss. And speaking of on theme, I mean, we got to talk about the shirts real quick, Lex. I mean, come on.
No,
for crying out loud.
We're very much.
Look at this. Like, I got my
very much in theme.
Grisha. and these little rice kids. You see the rice kids?
Yeah, you see, that's very in theme. Very, very much.
While I'm wearing my Killua hat. But yeah.
Yeah, we haven't seen Reiner in a bit, but
Reiner has been, yeah, he's been gone for a bit. Yeah, but he's a reoccurring character.
Reiner. Yeah, he's a reoccurring character. That one guy.
Just keeping it on theme. All right. Thank you guys again so much for the feedback. You guys are awesome. Now, is there anything we got to go and talk about in terms of some messages that we've gotten over on Instagram?
Let me take a peek.
Before we go ahead and get into the story, of course, because this episode, man, there's a lot of moments.
Mm-hmm. Let me take a peek. Take a peek. I don't remember any, but you guys know how my memory is.
Yeah. I think, hell yeah, that's right. That's what I'm talking about, Eddie. You know, gotta represent.
Doesn't look like anything.
Kyron says me. What did Kyron send us?
Kyron said.
Kyron says he sent something.
The foreshadowing of. we just got a message right now. Sorry, I got distracted. We just got a message from a Jacob Cobain saying, "Sup, lol."
Oh, hell yeah! What's up, Jacob?
Hello, Jacob. Hello.
Shout out, man. Join us in the stream. Chat with us on Twitch.
Yeah, of course. Chat on Twitch, please. Okay, so Kyron's is that the foreshadowing is too much about Hanji's eye. Let's see if it's gonna load. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the glass is having a reflection on the.
Oh yeah.
Having a reflection on the where she has her eye patch in the future. Okay, more foreshadowing. I feel like if you like search for foreshadowing, it's going to be in every single.
Well, that's the thing that's so crazy is that I mean
everything.
I think we talked about it last week when Kyron sent us the video of the blood splatter right on Hanji's eye. But it's like, man, those moments when you're watching them, right, they're as clear as day, right there in front of your face, foreshadowing what's going to happen later on in the story. But it just, again, goes straight over our heads because, I mean, it's like, oh, you know, you're not going to think the blood splatter means something. You're not going to think, oh my gosh, you know, this means the glare coming off of Hanji's glasses means something.
See it and be like, oh,
guess what?
Her eye.
You can't help but put two and two together when you realize that later on, guess what? Hanji's going to miss that eye, you know?
Yeah.
Like, exactly. It's so crazy. Even when you go and when you mentioned, right, you're the one that I think brought attention to the fact that Levi always stays over on her blind side to protect her. And it's like, wow.
Yeah. No, to hide so he can scare her.
Yeah, to hide so he can scare her for sure.
Because he's already so small.
Yeah.
No, it's to protect her blind spot because he understands that she has a blind spot.
Yeah, and that's so sweet. I mean, we've talked about who's the bigger softie, and that is Levi for sure. You know,
Levi's a big old softie.
Yeah. McCameron says it could be like a coincidence, but why did the glare only cover one eye, right? Like not both lenses. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, I've come to the conclusion that anything that happens in Attack on Titan is not a coincidence.
Yeah, there's no way.
With Hisayama, everything is there for a specific reason. So I think that's the mindset we have to have going forward is that, Kyron, anytime you see anything that you think is maybe by coincidence, just remind yourself, no, that is there for a reason.
Yeah.
Right?
It always is.
Yeah. Alrighty, Kyron, thank you so much for that. For the foreshadowing. We got anything else, Lex?
That is everything that I saw.
Perfect.
That's everything.
You guys are awesome. So here we go. We're to get into this episode, guys. So strap yourselves in. And hope you guys are in a nice comfy chair or wherever you guys are sitting on, you know. Because we're going to talk about a specific chair that a certain somebody's very excited about and has been working on for a while.
Maybe the chair once used to be comfy.
Yeah.
But maybe not in the way it's being used.
But we also know that this chair, for somebody who's so excited about it, this chair comes back to bite this person in the ass.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like
big time.
You may love this chair right now, but
you're going to hate this chair much later on down the line. But alrighty, guys. So we're going to go ahead and finish this episode. This is season 3, episode 6. This episode's name is Sin. And yes, it might be a sin to be so excited about what this guy is about to do to this council member. Probably is a huge sin.
Yeah,
you know, I think torturing is a
just
sin.
Just some more sins.
Yeah, but this is part 2 of our breakdown and discussion. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into it. And I'll let Lexi take it away.
Yeah. Surprise, guys. So we begin this episode at the Capitol in Walsena. And then we hear Premier Zachary saying with warning.
From now on, whenever you eat, you'll be digesting your meals from the bottom up. As always, you'll wear the finest of clothes, but only from your feet to your knees. And so you don't get lonely, I'll take you out once a week to be paraded by the public.
Then we see that the Premier is speaking to and torturing top member of the Puppet King's Council,
Ariel.
Yeah. I was like, Ariel.
Yeah.
Ariel. So we see him upside down, strapped to the chair that we were talking about earlier, but he's naked from the knees down, or in this sense, the knees up.
Yeah. So he's upside down, and obviously, yeah, it'd be like you said, the knees down. Yeah.
The knees. Yeah. The knees down. Yeah. And then the Premier continues as he admires his torture device.
It's so beautiful. This may well be the finest work of art man has ever conceived. All those decades of planning it have finally paid off. Just wait. Art must be completed by its audience. You must be seen by the people, the same ones you tyrannized. And that will be my masterpiece.
The main council member, Ariel, tells the Premier as he has an open mouth spreader on.
Yeah, so he has like this strap around his mouth.
Yeah.
Just right, keeping his mouth open, all right. Ugh. So the council member Ariel tells Premier Zachary.
Zachary, your hatred is tenfold. The blood of slaves runs through your veins, and nothing will change that. You will never be the equal of a noble like me. Soon enough, you'll forget any of this happened. I bet you'll even forget how to shit.
And then the Premier interrupts Ariel by shoving a hose into his mouth. And I think we all know what's on the other end of that hose.
As long as we're on the subject, why don't you tell me if you nobles really do shit gold? I'm sorry? What was that? Your mouth's full.
Then we see the Premier punching Ariel in the stomach.
All right. So let's talk about this very, very quickly,
and
okay?
like how he's like, what was that? I can't hear. He didn't even say anything. No. You're sitting there like milking the hose.
Yeah.
Like coaxing it down.
So let's explain this chair. So obviously this torture device, something that Premier Zachary has been working on for a while, right? It's meant for whoever is going to get tortured to be sitting, right? Mm-hmm. Upside down.
Yeah.
Right? And
doing a little headstand.
There's a tube, right, where we obviously know where the Premier connects.
Yeah, we know
one end of the tube, right? And
it's like a funnel. It's weird.
Yeah,
it's like a funnel. It's
gross. It's terrifying being on the receiving end of it, right? And I gotta say, man, kudos to this Ariel guy, because I mean he's still trying to give it to the Premier.
I know,
even though he's in such a vulnerable position.
He's still got that fight in him. I'm like, okay, I guess he's just accepted it.
And I mean, he's still got that kind of high and mighty mentality, right? He's considered. He says that you have the blood of the slaves or something. That right? Is that what he's saying? Blood of the slaves run through your veins. Mm-hmm. My gosh, right?
Yeah, the blood of slaves, and nothing will change that.
Yeah, and then
you'll never be equal of a noble like me. Well, we see where that got you.
Yeah. And then so what does Premier Zachary do to shut Ariel up? Is he goes and he shoves the free end of this tube, right, this hose, mm-hmm. and he sticks it in Ariel's mouth. Mm-hmm. So
just to shut him up,
Yeah, and he's gonna be doing his own single little what's that one? The like human caterpillar. What is it? The human centipede. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a single centipede.
Single centipede. Yeah. And yeah, it's
a cheap, recycle way. You never have to spend money again.
It's disturbing how much joy Premier Zachary gets out of this.
Yeah.
And he's so excited.
After calling the device beautiful.
He's so excited to show the public too. He's like, oh my gosh, people are going to appreciate this. And
he's like trying to make that seem like a good thing for Ariel. Because, oh, don't worry, you'll get fresh air. He's gonna parade you around and show you off to everyone.
But honestly, this guy really did deserve this, and awesome, very cool. So very quickly in chat, we have Heise, right? To be honest, Heise TBH. Hopefully we're pronouncing that right, Heise. So you can correct us if we are wrong. But Heise is here from TikTok, courtesy of Kyron. So huge shout out to both of you. Obviously, we've shouted out Kyron enough. We want to give Kyron a big head.
Yeah. Thank you.
But yeah. So shout out to Heise for joining us, man. We're so happy to have you.
Heise, welcome.
Welcome. And
yes, we talk about we're talking about the anime.
Yeah.
We go through each episode in chronological order. So.
Yeah, so the focus, of course, is the anime, and then so thank you so much for the question. If you have any other questions for us, feel free to go ahead and ask away over in chat. We'll get to it, but yeah. So as Eddie also said, very very nice to have you join us. So and we hope that you enjoy our voice work. We obviously the goal is to try to bring these episodes to life, so to speak, right? Yeah. And for anybody who's familiar with the anime, when we go ahead and we talk about it and we say the lines, we talk about the episode, the idea is that we envision the moments themselves happening, right, in our minds. So we do the best we can to make it authentic, but we, of course, are not voice actors. And so
it would be nice, but
we would love to be a voice actor. Of course, that is our dream jobs. But yeah, we'll do the best we can. And thank you again for joining us. But yeah, this chair is something else, man. You know. But what I was gonna go ahead and say though is that this guy, I mean, Ariel obviously is very deserving of it. I mean, this guy, talk about just having that high and mighty complex, right? I mean, who knows how long this guy has been a member of this king, right? King Fritz, this puppet king, right? We don't know how long he's been in power, right? And I mean, we see that he is in power because the king himself isn't the one in power.
Yeah,
it is the council.
He's just a face,
right? It's the council, and then this guy is the spokesperson for this council. So he's the one essentially running the show.
Yeah.
Right. And we've seen as the coup d'etat was happening, right? And we had that breach. Oh my gosh, they're in the walls, right? They broke into not just Wall Mari anymore. They broke into Wall Rose, right? And guess what? Now they're gonna have to go and head towards Cena. All the refugees have to get to Cena, and this guy who is in Wall Cena, the capital, he is saying, "Shut that damn gate!
Don't let any.
We're not letting anybody in." Right? This guy only cares about his own safety, which a lot of these royal, higher ups, what they do, right? They go and they think of themselves, right? But they don't want these refugees over in their place because guess what? That's going to take away theirs, right? So this guy definitely is deserving of this. I'm not going to say there's a lot of people that are deserving of this specific torture, but I think this guy fits the bill.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong.
It's just disturbing seeing how much Zachary enjoys it.
Yeah, definitely.
But
and if you guys,
to each their own, I guess.
If you guys want to play devil's advocate, and then you guys want to try to reason with us and tell us why this guy isn't deserving of this torture,
just be like, no one ever deserves that torture.
By all means, go ahead and try to change our minds. Yeah, but I'm under the impression that this guy deserves this torturing because this guy doesn't care about
the one in charge.
Yeah, he was the one who was immediately going to go ahead and do this final judgment and execute Irvin to execution, right? He was going to go ahead and sentence him to his execution.
Yeah.
He immediately
we deliberated and I decided immediate death.
Yes, declared him guilty. Okay. And we obviously know that that coup d'etat was successful and Irvin is very much alive. And yeah, who knows too, because Irvin in that state, right, when we saw him during his final judgment, his sentencing, right, in front of that council and the puppet king, that Irvin wasn't in the best shape. He obviously looked very malnourished, right? He obviously is already missing an arm.
He had been beating it. Yeah, dude is already missing a whole arm.
He's beaten up, right? He's got bruises and he's got swelling and he's got a black eye and stuff. And, who knows what else these members did and torturing, the commander of this survey corps, Commander Irvin.
Yeah.
We don't know exactly what these members did or, they had obviously their interior police, I should say, right? They had their interior police do the torturing. Who knows what they probably just have at it, guys.
We've seen them torture.
Make sure you make life hell.
Or we've seen the aftermath of them torturing Pastor Nick. So
yeah, and unfortunately,
you can only imagine what they did to Irvin.
With the moments that we've seen with the interior police torturing, right, it leads to death, right? We've seen with Pastor Nick, and we've seen also with Irvin's father, right? With Irvin's father was, he was a teacher, he was very curious and he knew things that he shouldn't have known, and of course they tortured and killed him, right? So again, I'm saying this guy is deserving of this, right? Because as we have speculated that he is the decision maker.
Yeah.
And A lot of people have suffered because of this guy. So I think he needs to suffer by eating his own shit.
Yeah.
So eat up.
Centipede. I was gonna say this is one of those. This is one of those scenes that like you kind of block out in Attack on Titan. Like it's one of those that you don't really like. It either sticks with you and scars you, or you're like, that was weird.
I'm gonna choose to forget this.
Yeah, I'm going to choose to forget this. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Where's Eren at? What's going on? What about Kenny? Like it's because I remember when I was like first
virtual high five.
I remember when I was like rewatching it with you. Oh no, I think it was my first time watching season 3 with you.
Yeah, so we were watching it like as it was happening for the first time.
Yeah, for the first time. And then I remember like when I think I went back and rewatched it, or
you just had to see it again.
It must have been when we rewatched it with Dad or something.
Yeah, probably.
But, watching it again and being like, oh yeah, this happens.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's
right.
right.
Or like hearing any references to it, and it's like, oh yeah, that's a thing, huh?
Yeah. Because you just want to block it from your memory.
Yeah.
You know.
You're like, oh yeah, he did do that, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
There's some stuff that's, I mean, obviously, Attack on Titan is full of information. Memorizing it all with my memory is not the easiest. So I'm glad that that's one of the things I forgot. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And of course, guys, I know that we have High Sage joining us, first time, which is awesome. And
yes, welcome.
And I want to say to High Sage and anybody else who's joining us, I mean, feel free to go ahead and chime in at any point. You know, this is just, we're streaming here live, and exactly, this is an open forum here, and we want to go ahead and chat about whatever's on your guys' mind about Attack on Titan. So if you guys have any certain thoughts or anything you guys want us to go ahead and kind of break down or talk about, feel free to go and chime in over in chat. We'll get to it, and yeah, so make sure you guys don't hold back, because obviously Premier Zachary isn't.
Yeah.
All right.
He's not.
Whenever you're ready, Lex, we can go ahead and continue.
All right. So to continue,
Survey Corps.
We now go to the Survey Corps headquarters, where Commander Irvin and his scouts are preparing for their next mission. So Commander Pixis is also there, and he tells Irvin,
"This could end badly. All the members of the King's Council are telling us the same thing. It's just as your late father speculated. The Rice family has the power to alter people's memories as it suits them. From what I've been told, aside from those of a few noble bloodlines that are immune, whole cities could be affected at once."
This causes Commander Irvin to gasp as he asks,
"So, they could still..."
And Irvin pauses. And Commander Pixis continues explaining to him,
"In the event that Lord Rice is able to obtain Eren's scream, this uprising of ours will amount to absolutely nothing. If you ask me, that's why the council members have been so cooperative. They don't think it's worth getting beaten."
And Commander Irvin responds to Pixis by saying,
"Right. Because if this ability should come into play, we'll forget everything they told us."
Commander Pixis now speculates,
"Although, I'd imagine that they'd prefer whatever torture we could throw at them if they knew what would await them once they're given up to Zachary."
And as we see Premier Zachary with a sick, sadistic grin on his face, tugging the hose up and down.
"I don't understand him. To think that he would dedicate so much of his life to such a morbid goal."
So Commander Irvin now asks,
"So then, you knew what he was planning?"
And Commander Pixis answers,
'Twas a slip of the tongue. I suspected. At the very least, I knew his motives were perverse. And unlike you, I'm none too fond of gambling. Also, unlike you, I'm willing to die if it means protecting what's left of humanity. The only reason I backed you was because I believed it to be the best choice for the human race. Had the government passed my little test, I was prepared to make a stand against you and Zachary. To think, we just stood as comrades in a coup d'etat, and I'm already talking like this. I once heard in a song that someday humans would stop fighting. When will that be?"
But then, abruptly, a scout alerts Commander Irvin, "Commander, the wagons are ready, sir. Troops are standing by. We await your command." We see the scouts all gathered, awaiting Commander Irvin's orders. Commander Irvin tells his scouts,
peace between men will never be certain. Not until our numbers fall to 1 or less.
And we hear Commander Pixis laugh and respond,
shit. Here, I was hoping you might have something optimistic to say.
Commander Irvin continues as he throws on his Wings of Freedom cape.
Your attention! Soldiers of the Survey Corps! Our mission is to recover Aaron and Historia. We will now make for their location, believed to be the chapel on Rice's land.
Okay.
All right. So, we'll go ahead and we'll talk about what just happened.
Yeah.
But I like it. Heise has a question for us, and Heise says, who's your favorite characters? And Heise says, mine are Aaron and Flock.
And
What?
Flock?
No way. I think you're lying there, Heise. There's no way Flock is your favorite character. And if Flock is, you have to explain to us why.
I mean, to each their own, but we're some major Flock haters over here.
It sounds like Heise is a Jaegerist.
Yeah.
You know?
Very much. Yeah. My favorite are Aaron and Flock, and yeah.
Yeah, so Heise, please explain to us why you like Flock. But you want to answer first, Lex, or should I go?
I
favorite character.
don't even know if I for sure have a favorite.
So you don't have a favorite, but you have probably a group, right? Do you have a group of characters that you like that you root for?
I'm just gonna say
maybe like everybody and say Levi.
No, not Levi. I was gonna say Hanji.
Okay, yeah.
Hanji's definitely up there for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy that I don't think we've ever really talked about
who our favorite characters are.
Yeah, because I mean I've mentioned. I've been on record many times in this podcast to say who my favorite character is, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of odd that you don't have necessarily a favorite character. But again, maybe it just goes to show that, obviously Attack on Titan has so many strong characters. I mean, they're so well written and, there's such amazing character development, right? And speaking of character development, this is why that I am a fan of this specific character. Kyron says, can we have a top 3? Ooh, so think about your top 3, Lex, because obviously you don't have one. Kyron also says I can't just choose one. So Kyron, if you want to go ahead and also remind us and tell Heise on who your favorite characters are, by all means, let's do this, guys. Eddie, of course, anybody else joining us, let us know who you, if you have a favorite character or who your top 3 is. But for me, my heart just goes out to Armin because we kind of talked about a little bit at the start of this podcast, right? It's kind of similar with Frida and how she's so kind-hearted. And here's the thing, man, is that we've seen plenty of times with Armin is that Armin is trying to be the peacekeeper here, right? He's trying to be the person he comes up with these strategies where he's trying to prevent any bloodshed, right? And I admire that about him, but also the reason why I care about him so much is because of where he came from. He was this character where you see him and he's so annoying at first. All he's doing is all this crying, he, especially when he freezes and stuff, and when the rest of his crew is, they're essentially all murdered, right? Aaron saves him, and he's just there frozen in fear, and it's like, dude, you need to get up. Come on, you need to get up, right? And then we see he's such a shell of himself going forward, but then you start seeing that development. You start seeing him really come into his own. You start seeing him building confidence, right? To the point where something we talked about in the recent, I want to say month, of course, right? Where he had to do something that he wouldn't do. And that is he saved Jean's life by taking the life of one of Kenny's squad members. And we saw how that affected him, but he did it because he knew he had to. And there's other awesome moments that we see from Armin, right? He does annoy me a little bit in season 4. Because he is, for somebody who wants to keep peace, he is the most destructive Titan, right?
Kind of unfortunate.
We've only seen him transform once, I believe, as that Titan form.
Yeah, and what he was essentially like the nuke, the distraction. Yeah,
and then something, of course, we've talked about, and it's funny because Eddie mentions his list, right? Or Eddie's mentions, of course, Irvin Smith, right? And that's Eddie's favorite. And we've talked about with Irvin is that had he been the one to survive and brought back to life and become the Colossal Titan, I think it's safe to say that Irvin would have turned into the Colossal Titan more than just one time. He'd be way more willing to go ahead and do whatever it takes to claim victory, for humanity. Whereas with Armin, he understands victory is important, but he doesn't want to go ahead and do it in warfare, right? But Armin for me is my favorite character. And so to get some clarity with Heise, and Heise says, because Flock doesn't hesitate. This is actually something that we've talked about in recent episodes, right? Says Flock doesn't hesitate to do what he wants, Aaron's right-hand man, right? To do what he wants, and he's Aaron's right-hand man. He's just badass. Yeah, and I will say, there was something that we described Flock as, right? He is...
very, very...
He's dedicated.
Yeah.
You know, and he's honest, and whatever he stands for, you know, he's at the point where we see him, you know, like when he survives, right? He survives that suicide run.
Yeah.
Now he has a new kind of mindset that he's not going to be denied on what he thinks is right. And obviously we see him being the right-hand man, as Heise has told us, right? The main Jaegerist, right? You can go ahead and obviously argue that it's, you know, Helena, right? Or Yelena.
Yelena, yeah.
Yeah, excuse me. But Flock, I mean, yeah, nothing's going to stand in his way. He's completely dedicated. And another thing, too, is that he is loyal. And that's what I appreciate. I appreciate loyalty, and that's another reason why, you know, I like Armin so much, because of how loyal he is to his, you know, his crew. Yeah. Right? But also the same thing with Flock on the other aspect of things, is that, like, you know, you have these Jaegerists, and you have what it is that Aaron wants Flock to do, is that he's loyal and he's going to go ahead and fulfill it because he believes it, right? He believes that's what's right. And Eddie also mentioned saying that, you know, he's also fearless. And of course, I mean, he would see him put himself into some situations where he's literally battling against the Levi squad.
Yeah.
You know, he's battling against them. And it takes a very, very fearless person, as Eddie has just mentioned, to go ahead and do that. So I guess it does make sense. I understand. But I mean, I think for me, Flock wanting Armin not to survive is probably why I don't like Flock so much. But
his passion is commendable.
Yeah,
the passion that Flock has is commendable. I will say that.
Yeah, and you know, thank you so much, Heise, for go ahead and really clarifying, because that does make sense. And you know, kudos to you for really appreciating characters like that. And it just goes to show again about just the writing that Hisayama has with this amazing story. You know, as he writes so many characters that they all have their own motivations, right? And yeah, I mean, I have to tell you too. I mean, Flock obviously is a character that not a lot of people are fans of. So for you to go ahead and go against the norm, man, is just like completely admirable. And I mean, it makes a lot of sense now that you explained it.
Yeah.
But Kyron also mentions his top 3, saying Sasha in all caps. Then there's Hanji and Levi. Yeah, it's an awesome
understandably.
List as well. They're all very, very crucial characters and strong characters, and yeah, I mean, they're all fearless as well. I mean, there's these characters are all fearless. Talking about Eddie when he mentioned Irvin, I mean, they're all fearless. I'm the only one that has a character that has some fear.
I know.
And Armin.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
No, Sasha has some fear.
I love him.
There's some fear in Sasha.
Yeah.
But, you know, she's just so instinctive. She has so much awareness that she's able to go and suppress her fear with her
hunter's instincts.
Yeah. So, Heise, awesome question. Thank you so much for that. Of course, if you have anything else for us, go ahead and feel free to go ahead and ask. And so now let's go and let's talk about this moment here in the episode, right, where Commander Irvin and the scouts is they're preparing for their mission, which is obviously to go ahead and meet with Levi and his squad over at the chapel, right? Last episode, we went ahead and had we talked about Hanji, and Hanji explains to Levi and his team from this report on Rod Rice, and so she explained about what events took place, right? She obviously gave them the good news that the coup d'etat was successful. They're no longer fugitives. The scouts are no longer in hiding. And then she also had her theory, and she said she thinks she knows where Aaron and Historia are, and that is this chapel, which she says, you know, kind of oddly enough, burned down and was destroyed because of like
bandits.
Bandits.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't think bandits
doesn't sound right.
did this.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, so yeah, Heise also said, wait, my third is Sasha. I was really sad when she, I don't spoil it for you. So we're, so at the start of the episode, Heise, what we do is we go ahead and we give a huge spoiler warning to anybody who is joining us, because
we've seen all of the anime.
We go ahead and we're caught up with the anime. We are not us to the point where we know how it's all going to end, right?
We're not manga. We haven't read the ending of manga, but
but in terms of anime, we're completely caught up. So we go ahead and give a spoiler warning to anybody because we do get into spoiler talk, of course. Unfortunately, we have talked about Sasha plenty of times because Sasha is a very beloved character in this podcast, as well as just the fan base in general. And that's awesome. Yeah, Sasha is another awesome character. But kind of go back now to Hanji. I mean, she has her suspicions about this chapel, right? That there wasn't bandits that caused the chapel to get so destroyed. That it had to have been Titans. Yeah, right?
Like there's only
a Titan battle, away. Right? And then so we know that whenever Hanji has a hunch, more than likely she's correct. That's how smart she is.
She's really perceptive.
So in preparing for this mission, we know that the coup d'etat was successful. Irvin was able to go ahead and travel back to headquarters, which I believe is over in Trost. And obviously, Commander Pixis, he traveled back with Commander Irvin. And we see that in preparation. This conversation that these two have is very interesting, right? We know that when Irvin himself survived and he wasn't executed, right?
Yeah.
He, in a weird way, like still a piece of him died.
Yeah.
Like he survived, but he, for whatever reason, he lost that motivation. And it took Premier Zachary actually to remind him about what your motivation is, right? About your
remember
father.
What you're fighting for.
And
keep going.
And so, we see now that, he's got a little bit more, gas in the tank, right? Before he seemed like he was all exhausted, he was all empty, and there was nothing else for him to go ahead and really, he had no more will to fight. I mean, he was talking for me for crying out loud. I mean, he was telling Premier Zachary that it probably would have been better for him to have died.
Yeah.
He doesn't know, again, like you talked about with Levi, not knowing what's right and what's wrong anymore, right?
Like going kind of numb and then...
Like he's at the point too where he's like, I don't even know if me surviving was beneficial for humanity.
I don't know if that was a selfish, like I need to see this through, or if it was actually what I needed.
That the council themselves, he said that they knew more about Titans than they do. Right? I mean, they have Rod Rice in their corner.
Yeah.
Rod Rice,
and
obviously, is with Titans.
He's got some knowledge that he's hiding.
It's coming from a more manipulative mindset of wanting to maintain the power, right? But they know more Titan knowledge, than Irvin and his people. Not for long, because Hanji, she's really kind of picking up a lot of stuff. But
it's just relaying the info and connecting all the dots. But yes.
But I mean, again, here, Commander Irvin and Commander Pixis are having a discussion, right? And we go ahead and when we get past the discussion of Commander Pixis kind of poking fun at Premier Zachary and how he, he has this weird fascination,
why
right?
He likes that.
Something that is important is that Commander Pixis, he does state, right, that talk about motivation, right, and Premier Zachary having to again remind Irvin about his father, and that's Irvin's motivation. Commander Pixis states that it's just as your late father speculated. The Rice family has the power to alter people's memories as it suits them, right? And this is knowledge that isn't just going around to everybody.
Yeah, it's not just floating around.
This is all stuff that has been hidden for such a long time, and now they're barely finally just getting that information, right? And it's like, it's moments like this where you got to think to yourself, for these characters, getting that like realization and understanding that there's so much just above and beyond them as just humanity.
Like, dang, there's so much more we don't know.
So many more powerful entities out there, and the fact that Irvin's father was on that right track, is obviously, it's unfortunately that's why they killed him. Because again, these are, as we said, this is information that's just getting out. This is information that the government hid for so long, and they would kill people because, I mean, shoot, they would kill people, to get the information to stay quiet. Oh, so Heisei also joined the chat saying, I thought the scene with Levi seeing Furlon and Isabel was very badass and emotional. One of the few times Levi shows his emotions. Okay, Heisei, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go ahead and remind, at least for me, I don't know about you, Lex, what you're referring to, I mean, for Furlon and Isabel. Is this one of the OVAs? I know that before there's been OVAs.
Isabel sounds
There's been OVAs that I know Eddie has talked about, and for us, we haven't watched the OVAs. I know Eddie so badly wants us to go ahead and watch and break down and have podcast episodes delegated to the OVAs, and in due time, we will. Yeah, Heise says OVA. Okay, so it's a moment that we haven't seen, but we've seen moments before where Levi is showing his more sentimental side, right? Something that we actually recently talked about was upon getting the good news, right? We talked about Hanji's telling the Levi squad the good news that you guys aren't fugitives anymore, right?
Yeah.
The coup d'etat was successful. What is the first thing that Levi does is that he apologizes to Hanji. He asks her forgiveness because he is the reason why she lost 2 of her squad members. You know? And Eddie say, yeah, he brought up an OVA. yeah. Right there, I say you're talking, you know, Eddie's language for sure right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a moment that obviously we haven't seen with Levi, but I mean, when we do watch it,
we do know that
we will
he's
definitely think of you, Heise, for sure.
Yeah.
But he says, I haven't seen them either. Let's not spoil it. Gotcha. So now we know with OVAs and stuff, you know, we're obviously not familiar with it. But yeah, I mean, again, seeing it's very strange seeing the more sentimental, emotional side of characters like Levi, who's showed us immediately. We've talked about it, how immediately we see them as just a badass, right? And this non-caring person who is just like very matter of fact about their business. But guess what? These characters are starting to get very battle hardened and become very numb, and there's some that are the weights of war starting to weigh on them, and they're starting to break a little bit.
The weight of their decisions.
Yeah.
Seeing how that affects humanity and everything.
Eddie, also great point. That's something I was going to go ahead and mention. But yeah, your beautiful transition, my friend. Eddie says, but see how Irvin opens up more emotionally with Commander Pixis, and it's just as I was alluding to, is that Pixis. It's very interesting to go ahead and we'll talk about what he tells Irvin, but Irvin being in this very fragile state, right? He is, again, like Levi he's showing more emotions that we're used to seeing. And man, I think it's because of what those 2 characters, specifically Irvin and Levi, have endured and survived, right? It's why they're so broken, you know, unfortunately.
Pretty worn. They are worn down.
Yeah, they've endured a lot, and so many battles and stuff, right? But another thing too that's very interesting is that when Commander Pixis explains that in the event that Lord Rice is able to obtain Aaron's scream, right? Again, this is knowledge that I forget that they are aware of, because you know it's like
oh, he has the coordinate.
They know exactly,
or whatever they
right.
Call
and
it.
Obviously we saw it happen, you know, during the scouts. Rescue, you know, trying to rescue Aaron, and when they do, obviously, you know, Rhina throws Titans and stuff, and we come across obviously, you know, the Smiling Titan.
Yeah.
And then Aaron uses his coordinate ability for the first time. I mean, we forget that, like.
Oh yeah, people know this.
That people know it, yeah, exactly, right. That word obviously spread and stuff, right.
Which is good that they know it, you know, relay that information. But
and then for, you know, obviously members like. That are important, like Pixis, right? They need that knowledge, and then we forget that he, you know, obviously is aware of this, right? But it's crucial saying that these members, right, like, because there is that option of, yeah, they were just captured, right? Yeah, the coup d'etat was successful, but guess what? If Rod Rice does execute what his plan is, and he has Aaron Eden, and he reclaims that founding ability, that he could just wipe the memories, and they're back to. You know, where they started. Yeah. Right? And you know, again,
to nothing.
That's a thing where we see that as we talked about with Ariel being still so cocky, even though he's sitting in this chair, that it's like, man, you know, you got to think that maybe that's in his mind as well, that that Rod Rice is going to go ahead and reclaim that power, and guess what, dude, when I'm free, I'm going to put your ass in that chair, Premier Zachary. I'm going to make you eat your own, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so the interesting thing here that, of course, Commander Pixis and what he talks about, and we actually had a Q&A talking about the specific moment, and that is when Pixis tells the council that he was willing to side with you had you have shown me that you were going to be caring, or you know, that you would pretty much be on the side of humanity. right?
Yeah.
Not just the side of them, but the side of humanity. And it's like, man, we thought, like, was he really going to go ahead and allow them to execute Irvin, right?
Yeah. Or like, do you believe him? Do you think he actually would have, or is just saying it because of the outcome?
But he says here, man, he even kind of, you know, he kind of throws a little jab at Irvin, saying, unlike you, I'm willing to die if it means protecting what's left of humanity.
Yeah.
And that's something that, like, I feel like it's so out of character. For Irvin to go ahead and say.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, for Pixis to say Irvin.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if Pixis is aware of the talk that Irvin had with Zachary, but like we were mentioning earlier, like he was saying, like, oh, I don't know if like me dying, like me surviving was the right thing. Like, is this me being selfish, just wanting to see like humanity win, or is this actually what's good and everything? And then for, like you said, out of character for Pixis to just be like, well, unlike you, I'm willing to die if it means protecting
I couldn't help it either, Kyron. As soon as I mentioned that, like, you know, you beat me to it again, my friend.
Yeah.
Kyron says foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Foreshadowing. Pixis.
You know, we know Pixis, when it all is said and done, he just wants to get sat on by a nice, beautiful, voluptuous, sexy lady Titan.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure he was so envious of all of those church followers of Pastor Nick, right? The Order of the Walls, right? When they all got sat on by Annie.
Yeah.
I'm sure like, Pixis was so jealous. He's like, damn it, that was my time.
What a way to go out.
Right? But obviously, we get a different foreshadowing here with Pixis referring to death, right? And we know that, unfortunately for him, that he does die in season 4 because of the that dang spinal fluid and that wine. We know that Pixis loves his wine. But yeah, and so anyways, to the point that I was mentioning here is that we actually get some clarity, you know, to that. What we thought was maybe a blanketed statement of I would have followed you, you know, because I think some of our responses were like, you know, he said it because the coup d'etat was successful. It's kind of like to go ahead and you know, kind of twist a knife a little bit over in the council's back, right?
Yeah.
But he says the only reason I backed you is because I believed it to be the best choice for the human race. Had the government passed my little test, I was prepared to make a stand against you and Zachary, right? And that's big. Because again, it's so out of character, right?
Yeah. To be like, I would have just been like, yeah, sure, his sentence is death. Would have agreed with it. And yeah, I mean, it's something that really stood out to me. But of course, now we see that Commander Irvin, he's ready to go, and he orders his scouts to go ahead, and this is the mission, and that is to recover Eren and Historia. So I don't want to gloss over some of the chat, and we have a high sis saying that Eren got very few Titan kills with ODM. Obviously, he's a Titan, but I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, it's something we've talked about too, where it's like, man, there's a moment when Eren goes and he it's when they get to the castle, right? Utgard Castle. And obviously, Ryan Abert told, you know, Krista is still, you know, Ymir obviously revealed herself as the Jaw Titan. Connie's there as well, right? And yeah, it's when the dust has settled, the castle has collapsed. The sun is, you know, is rising. He's finally there.
And then we see that the Titans that were collapsed underneath this castle aren't dead, right? They're still around. But guess what? The cavalry arrived. You know, Mikasa, of course, is doing her thing. She saves Krista, I believe, because Krista's running towards Ymir when she's getting, obviously, you know, torn to shreds, right?
Yeah.
And then really Eren is there.
Just awareness.
Eren flies into action. He goes and he gets his kill, and I think he mentions he got his first Titan kill.
Yeah, it's my first kill. Actually, I heard somewhere, I don't know if this is true, but I heard somewhere that is Eren's only Titan kill as a human.
And again, that just goes to show what Heist is mentioning, that it's obviously funny and ironic that Eren himself has one Titan kill. What you're saying?
That's what I heard. I heard that he's only killed one Titan as a human.
Yeah, we know that obviously he's killed people as a human, right? Because he obviously saved Mikasa, right? And,
but Titans.
But in terms of Titan, I mean, if he has one
like pure
Titan kill to his resume, like that's not the best. But we see that he makes up for Titan kills as a Titan.
Yeah, as a Titan, but many more kills.
But yeah, for sure, very ironic. I agree.
And he's continually adding to them.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So here's the thing: foreshadowing. Okay, so Kyron actually wasn't mentioning foreshadowing with Pixis. He's saying I was actually referencing Irvin because he said Irvin wouldn't die for humanity, and later we know Irvin did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's again
double foreshadow.
We glossed over that fact there, and it's something that I completely lost sight of because my focus was towards Pixis, right? But man, Kyron, you're so right. Irvin himself, I mean, he even kind of questioned about his survival. Is it beneficial for humanity? He doesn't know. Maybe it would have been better for him to die, right? That he is kind of wavering, and the fact that Pixis kind of throws that jab in Irvin's face, it's like, I guess it's kind of, I mean, it's not good that Irvin dies, but I guess it is kind of good to see that Irvin did whatever he could for humanity.
Yeah.
And
it's like atoning, and I mean, we all know that is just like a powerful scene for many reasons that we could talk about forever.
And it's sad because obviously he wanted to get to Grisha's cellar, and he never did, unfortunately.
That's all that he wanted to get to, and that's literally
virtual high five.
The last fight, like the last thing that had to happen to really get to it.
Yeah.
But it had to happen so that it could be arrived at. But yeah. Interesting to think that Pixis was like, I actually would have...
Blurry all day or what?
I would have...
Sorry, I'm struggling here with this camera.
You're good. It is interesting to think that Pixis was just like, oh yeah, I would have let you get killed if they would have let...
I'm over it.
It immediately goes blurry.
Oh, I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'll be blurry for the rest of the episode, guys.
Yeah. But it was interesting, especially for Pixis to say it like to Irvin's face. Being like, I would have let you get hung if...
Yeah, exactly.
If they did, allow the refugees into Walsina, and then if they proved that they weren't as selfish as we all think they were, then I would have backed them.
And that would have absolutely surprised, obviously, Commander of the Military Police, Niall Dock, because we saw that Niall. I mean,
when he was like, "You're really okay with this?"
He didn't want Irvin to die.
Yeah,
they have history together, but
who knows if that did end up happening? If Niall would have said something, we don't know.
Alrighty, so let's continue on. We still have a ways to go ahead and talk about. Without further ado, whenever you're ready, Lex.
So we now see Captain Levi and his Levi squad, and Hanji still traveling to the chapel. Captain Levi explains to his squad,
"You should understand. This is Kenny the Ripper. If he's there, he's our biggest obstacle. In terms of his threat level, it's like you'll be fighting me. Or wait, with those weapons of his, he'll be stronger."
And Sasha responds, "Then he's unbeatable, at least for us." And Connie adds,
"Maybe we should wait and meet up with other soldiers."
And Mikasa immediately disagrees. "No chance in hell." A nervous Connie responds,
"Right, of course not. If we wait for reinforcements, then Eren might get eaten."
And Armin now mentions,
Based on what the captain just told us, the odds won't be entirely in Kenny's favor."
And then Jean asks Armin,
"You really think so?"
And Armin responds to Jean,
"Yeah, his squad is well trained, but we have way more combat experience."
Hanji now has a question for Levi. "I have to ask, how is it that you lived with Kenny the Ripper but know next to nothing about him? Did the two of you never talk?" Then Levi answers,
"Not much. I only just learned the man's last name. Don't know if you heard, but it's Ackerman."
Then Levi turns to Mikasa.
"Might be a relative of yours."
Mikasa gasps as she thinks about it. "I remember my parents saying my dad's side, the Ackermans, were persecuted when they lived in the cities. My mom said her ancestors were Eastern. Her family's appearance made it difficult for them to fit in. Both groups were chased deep in the mountains near the edge of the walls. That's how my parents met. But my father never told me why the Ackermans were persecuted. He looked the same as all of you, so I don't think he was a different race." And Levi now tells Mikasa,
"Tell me this. Have you ever suddenly felt a power awaken inside of you?"
And Mikasa gasps as she recalls that nightmarish night. "I have." And Levi looks at Mikasa like he's familiar with this feeling, like he understands exactly what she's explained. And as they continue to travel, Levi now explains,
"This has happened for Kenny Ackerman as well. Suddenly, out of nowhere, he felt an absurd amount of strength surging through him. And in that moment, He knew just what he needed to do. And it's happened to me, too. Makes me wonder.
And we see that they are now approaching the chapel.
All right.
So...
Eddie says, I like how Levi is confident in the way he says, like, it's like you'll be fighting me.
Yeah, he's like, I know I'm the strongest. I know I'm strong.
No doubt. And this is, again, because, I mean, Kenny is the one who taught, Levi how to survive. Right? I mean,
so, Levi, he's not wrong in being like, it's like you'll be fighting me.
Levi is this lethal force of a person, right? Because of Kenny the Ripper. And, again, we know that they had to survive in order to, to be where they're at right now. They endured so much. We're going to get a glimpse of Kenny's kind of, a little bit of his origin very shortly when we continue on with this episode. Something to look forward to, of course. But yeah, I mean, these two are talented, like, combat artists.
Yeah.
Right? We see the style and how Levi fights these Titans, even how he survived and killed Kenny's crew members, right? His squad, who we know they have this new ODM gear, right? They are referred to as the anti-personnel something combat crew or something, like anti-personnel
team, anti-personnel.
If you guys know over in chat, please remind me.
Anti-personnel.
But this is something where talk about the military police commander, Niall Dock. He was like, wow, this was never approved by the military police. This is something that they kept, hidden, talking about this new uniform. And he's saying that this new uniform, it's odd because it won't do anything against a Titan, but it's perfect for killing people.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's so true because we know that, I mean, the reason why Kenny and his squad, right, why they're wearing this is because they want to kill the scouts. And obviously Levi was very, very talented and he survived, right?
Yeah.
Eddie said anti-personnel squad. Thank you.
Anti-personnel squad.
We're on the right track.
Okay. Yeah.
But man, these two, I mean, they have endured a lot. They're Ackermans, and we just got an awesome kind of little glimpse, right?
Yeah.
Of the Ackermans, right? And we're gonna get explained more about the Ackerman clan very shortly. Something again to look forward to. But let's go ahead and let's talk about this moment here with Levi explaining, right? Again, he's warning his squad who have. They're really, again, they're realizing, it took a little while for them to realize that the enemy now is the humans, right?
Yeah. You guys have to kill people. And
it's something that we know Jean really struggled with. We still see the struggle with Connie, and because Connie hasn't necessarily been in that situation, right? But, man, the thing is, though, with Jean, he became a scout because he wanted to kill Titans, not people. Right?
Yeah.
Armin himself had to kill a person in order to save Jean, and we saw how that affected Armin, right? It took a kind of a little, a little pep talk from Levi to have them realize that what they're doing isn't necessarily, goes against their morals because things change, right?
Yeah. It's got to be very shocking, like of an adjustment, because obviously they wanted to become scouts to fight Titans to save humanity. So in their own like moral compass, the humans are what is morally right. Humans are
humanity. That's what they're fighting for. They're fighting for survival of humanity.
Yeah, and now understanding that, like, oh well, you're continuing the fight. It's just that you're going to have to fight humanity with it, because not all of humanity is what you think it is.
Yeah.
So get that through your head. And obviously, like we mentioned in Attack on Titan before, the pacing is just so like, yes, we see this all like developing all the way through, but we don't know what little or how much time has gone between
the moment where they had to go ahead and fight the
when they first encountered the squad. Like going from like that to suddenly like, okay, we found them, let's fight them again. So
but then here's the thing, though, they're being told that they're gonna go ahead and go up against Kenny the Ripper, who obviously has this legend around him, right, as
strong as Levi, only with better equipment.
But I mean, again, take away just that's just kind of like to make things even worse, right? Like at the base of it all, this is Kenny the Ripper, a person who is known for slaughtering military police, right? And
he will not give you mercy.
And then you have Levi, again, taking it a step further, saying, he's our biggest obstacle in terms of threat level. It's like you'll be fighting me.
Yeah.
And again, if I am one of these squad members, right, this Levi squad, right, any of them, Connie, Sasha, Jean, Armin, Mikasa.
Yeah, I was going to say Mikasa too, even.
Like, the thought of you having to fight for real your captain, Captain Levi, that has got to be terrifying.
Yeah.
Right? Because I feel like when
Captain
you think
Levi
about your
with
captain,
a gun.
when you think about your captain, right, and you say, if you're fighting alongside Captain Levi, you have to kind of feel some reassurance. You have to feel somewhat better about your chances because you have Captain Levi on your side.
We have the most skilled soldier with us.
But when your captain is telling you that you're going to be going up against an opponent that is like fighting me, wait, no, worse. Because like you said, Lex, the weapons that he has will make him stronger.
Levi with a gun.
You're like, damn.
Well, guess we're... Yeah,
I don't feel good anymore.
Yeah, that's why Sasha immediately responds, like, then he's unbeatable. Like, for us, he's unbeatable then.
Yeah.
Like, so why are we going into this?
And talk about the, like, the fear, right? With Connie says, maybe we should just wait for all the reinforcements, right?
I don't want all the responsibility. Like, this is really scary. It just seems, like, so daunting that it's like a whole David and Goliath thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, there's no way that we can beat this guy.
Yeah, it's a great analogy there. But, man, and then...
Not Humanity and Titans, David and Goliath.
Yeah. But then you have somebody who doesn't have the fear that Connie has, right? And Mikasa, Mikasa immediately puts that potential idea to bed. Throw that in the trash because guess what? We're not doing that. Yeah. And she says, no chance in hell.
Yeah. She was told, Aaron is under that cellar.
That's all the motivation she needs.
And we're so close, so we just have to go get him.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I will definitely do it. Aaron? Yeah, I will definitely go save Aaron. Yeah. You said he's like you, only with a gun? Doesn't matter. I'm going to get Aaron.
Yeah. Which, again, is something that Levi needs to be careful of because he understands how emotional Mikasa gets when it involves Aaron.
He's experienced how, like, her emotions have gotten...
the better of her.
Yeah, the better of her for sure, and have gotten in the way. Like, it's, like...
Not just that,
pretty much the reason that Levi got that ankle injury.
Yeah, for sure.
With the female Titan.
And Mikasa's recklessness oftentimes put her other squad members in danger, And again, like you mentioned, that with Levi, he got hurt and he was out of commission for a while, Who knows how healthy he is at this point,
Yeah, we don't even know how fully... I mean, we can only imagine what their medical knowledge is like.
Yeah. But...
they don't have, Dr. Grisha, so...
I like it, though. So... with Armin, he's trying to have a little bit more positive mindset. Again, I talked about the character development of Armin and how he's no longer wimpy and he's no longer fearful. And, he still has a little bit of it, of course, right? But in this moment here, he's not the one who's, saying that, hey, guys, I think there's another way we can do this, No, he's not trying to strategize and prevent bloodshed.
Yeah.
He's actually saying that from what the captain told us, that he believes the odds won't be entirely in Kenny's favor. And he explains saying that, his squad is well trained, but he says that the Levi squad, Captain Levi, Hanji, they all currently have more combat experience. Which is true, but I can't help but go ahead and recall back to Kenny and his squad.
Yeah, when you guys were combating
them, right? And it seemed like they were very outmatched.
Yeah.
So
it seems like they kind of know what they're doing strategy wise.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, a positive outlook there, Armin. But I mean, we can't just gloss over, that first already encounter that they had with.
But way to think on the bright side, Armin.
Yeah. And then Hanji has an interesting question for Levi, and that is about Kenny and Levi's relationship with Kenny the Ripper, because obviously they were explained by Levi that, this is the guy that essentially raised Levi.
Yeah.
Right? And it's odd for Hanji to not just get that realization, right, that Kenny the Ripper is like this father figure of Levi, but the fact that Levi knows next to nothing about the guy, right? He says, yes, did you guys not talk?
I know, you guys live together, but you guys know nothing about each other?
And then Levi says, hey, I just learned the guy's last name. And then that's when he goes and he turns to Mikasa's attention and says that Ackerman. He kind of jokes, right? And he kind of just says, what does he say? That it might be a relative of yours, you know? But then an interesting thing that Levi mentions is he talks about that Ackerman feeling, right? Because Mikasa explains about what she remembers, what she recalls about her family, and her father's side is from the Ackermans. Her mother's side is from the Eastern ancestors.
Yeah.
Something that we see much later on down the line over in season 4. And we're going to get explained
more. They were both
more.
kind of pushed into kind of like hiding.
Yeah,
like
they definitely
deep in the
do.
mountains.
And we're going to get more information on that when we continue on the episode. But yeah, I mean, they both were just chased, as you said, deep into the mountains near the edge of the walls. And that's, how her parents met, right?
Being persecuted together. How romantic.
But she says that her father never told Mikasa why the Ackermans were persecuted, right? She says that he looked the same as all of you. And so it's not like it was anything that involved racism, right?
Yeah.
Which she understands from her mother's side.
Yeah,
because unfortunately they were very racist to
whether it's like, they're called Orientals and they're very high value and of course being chased for so her mom was obviously chased into the mountains because of her race and what she looked like, and then father was chased in the mountains because guess we'll find out
about the Ackerman clan, and then that's when Levi asks about this sudden power that awakens right inside of you, right? And then Mikasa has, of course, we're very much aware of that moment.
The night she met Eren. And when all of a sudden this little girl
at first stab.
Yeah, all of a sudden this little girl is able to just stomp through floorboards and grip a knife so hard that the handle breaks.
Yeah, and not just that, but when she goes and she kills the dude, like she stabs him right from the back, and it penetrates all the way through his heart.
Yeah,
So I mean,
so whatever power awakened, it was powerful.
Yeah,
but yeah, she remembers that. She
remembers that. Levi explains that Kenny, suddenly felt that power as well, that absurd amount of strength that he describes as surging through him, right? And he also mentioned that it happened to him as well. But we see that they are approaching the chapel.
I would love to see what that moment was for Levi.
Yeah.
Like what the moment was for Levi to be like obviously it had to happen when he was pretty young.
Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and see it when we get to Levi's story, his backstory.
Because I don't recall it right now, but I think
it involves it might involve him being the runt and stuff like that. And I think with I don't know. Because I
remember him getting into scraps and fights in the town and stuff, and I remember all of that. I just don't remember if there's anything specific about it, like it awakened inside me at this moment. But I would like to see that. It's probably terrifying. But yeah, so they're bonding over this. We have this Ackerman blood that has awakened some kind of power, and Kenny has had the same thing. So
you ready to find out about from Kenny's side about this Ackerman power surging, or at least from the Ackerman, and why they are essentially shunned and persecuted?
Oh, of course.
So whenever you're ready, Lex.
Okay. So now we're in the underground chapel. We see Kenny the Ripper awaiting the scouts' arrival, and Kenny is staring at his knife. And as we get a closer look, we see that he's staring at his own reflection. We then get a glimpse of a young Kenny in the reflection, as Kenny recalls a memory.
Fess up, Gramps.
We now see the memory as a young adult Kenny is standing at the bedside of his grandpa, and this younger Kenny continues.
Come on, you're dying anyway.
His grandpa opens his eyes and acknowledges.
Oh, Kenny, I take it you were just out killing more of the military police.
Then Kenny responds.
Yeah, if you're talking about those goons that were snooping around here, they're in the ground helping the trees grow now.
And Kenny's grandpa begins coughing, and Kenny continues.
Speaking of trees and such, there's a branch of the family that moved south to Shiganshina. Guess they should have changed the name when they left, because they're still getting screwed with. So, of course, they're still poor as dirt. What in the hell happened to us? I thought that the Ackerman clan used to be the king's personal bodyguards. Now the whole damn family's on the verge of extinction. So why don't you tell me what you did to piss off the king?
And his grandpa just stares.
Come on. Won't you tell your sweet grandson one last story?
And Kenny's grandpa now sits up in his bed as he continues to cough.
What sweet grandson are you talking about? Surely not the infamous Kenny the Ripper who's been terrorizing the capital. It ain't that the monarchy hates us or has any cause to. They're just afraid of us, so. Reason being, we Ackermans are one of a few families the king can't quite control.
A curious Kenny asks,
what do you mean by that?
Kenny's grandpa responds by saying,
can't tell you the whole story, because I don't know it. But it's true that our family was once honored and trusted by the king. More than that, from what I was told. We Ackermans were once the king's sword. For generations, each king has passed the power of the Titans to his successor.
And Kenny now asks,
Power of the Titans? What's that?
And Kenny's grandpa tells Kenny,
I don't know how it works, or what all else there is to it. But this power allows the king to wipe out human memory, to erase the past. Only a few noble bloodlines are immune. Among them, there were two groups that decided to turn back on the king. One of these groups was the Eastern Clan, and the other was our own Ackerman clan.
And then Kenny responds,
hence all the persecution.
And Kenny's grandpa continues,
and nothing can end it.
Kenny's grandpa begins coughing again, and he lays back in bed. And Kenny now tells his grandpa,
ain't the heartwarming story you want to hear on your deathbed, but I found my little sister. She's been working at a brothel in the underground. She got knocked up by a customer. I couldn't convince her to get rid of the thing. Oh hell, who'd want to be born in this piece of shit world anyway? There isn't a dream you could have worth suffering for.
All right. So this is just a little insight, right? A little bit of a backstory that we get from Kenny.
Some lore, some of that Kenny lore.
Yeah, so Kyron says, I also get an Ackerman awakening every time I stubbed my toe.
Every time I stub my toe, I feel it.
True, yeah. That honestly is a terrible feeling. If you go ahead and you stub your toe when that sudden shock of pain,
when your pinky toe like catches onto like a table or like a desk leg or something.
Yeah.
Or like a door frame.
Oh my gosh. And then Eddie mentions the goons, right? And this is what Kenny is referring to the military police as, right? It's the goons, right? It was just so odd because we saw that Kenny himself was aligned with the goons.
Yeah.
Right? He was working alongside.
He was one of the goons.
The military police, right? So that's kind of a funny little ironic moment there. But man, we go ahead and we see his grandfather, who obviously is in rough shape. Kenny mentions about his deathbed. One last story, not a heartwarming story you want to hear on your deathbed, right? So obviously his grandfather is on the brink of death. We see that he is coughing and, he's struggling to go ahead and essentially, speak and talk to Kenny, but he's able to go ahead and at least give some last little bit of knowledge and, to Kenny. And we see that this is, a much younger Kenny, because the Kenny that we see is going to go ahead and face against Levi and his scouts is a very wrinkled, grizzled, just a very
rugged Kenny.
Rugged Kenny. I like Lexi's little fan cast for Kenny Ackerman. That is Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah,
for anybody who's familiar with The Walking Dead, that Lexi sees, and even how he talks a little bit too. That Lexi sees some Jeffrey Dean Morgan and thinks that would be a brilliant fan cast, and I agree that would be very, very good.
That would be great.
And this Kenny that we see in this flashback is not wrinkled, not rugged, right? We see that he's still doing some filthy things.
He's still Kenny.
Because
he's still Kenny the Ripper.
While he has a much younger face, right? He doesn't have the scruff, doesn't have the wrinkles as I mentioned, but he does still have like blood on his trench coat and stuff,
He's still
wearing his usual
stuff.
Kenny hat.
He's still that Ripper.
And yeah, he's still doing his thing, right? but he has questions, and he wants to ask about. The reason why he's asking is because he's talking about a family, right? A family that moved to Shigashina, and he's saying, I guess they should have changed the name, right? Because they're still getting screwed with.
Yeah.
He says they're poor as dirt, and he wants to know what the hell happened to us Ackermans, right? Because I thought the Ackerman clan used to be the king's personal bodyguards, and now this whole family is on the verge of extinction. So he pokes fun and saying, "What did you do to piss off the king?" Right? And Kenny's grandfather, his grandpa, you know, I like how this cool little kind of little poking fun moment where Kenny is like, "Come on, won't you tell your sweet grandson one last story?" And then, you know, obviously being an Ackerman himself, his grandfather says, "What sweet grandson you talking about? Ooh. Surely not the infamous Kenny the Ripper." Right? But then he explains that it's not that the monarchy hates us or has any reason to. It's simply fear. They're afraid of us. And the reason being is because the Ackerman clan are one of the few families that the king cannot control. Wow. And that is obviously very important because we see with the king and his council that they want to control everybody. They want to have complete control, right? And obviously anybody that they can't control, they're perfectly okay with actively trying to kill or actively keeping them away, right? And again, with the Ackerman clan, we get some, you know, we're informed that they obviously can't kill the Ackerman clan because of, you know, how strong and powerful they are. So instead, they're just going to go ahead and try to keep them very far away.
Just persecute them. After they used to be aligned with, not they, but like after the royalty and everything used to be aligned with them, and where grandpa's saying, like, we used to be, like, the Ackermans actually used to be the king's sword. Yeah. It used to be aligned. You know, and then obviously when they're that powerful.
Huge fall from grace.
Yeah.
You know, imagine being on the right, like being the right hand of the king, right? To
suddenly like go in the outside.
Being shunned and being, you know, like, we
cannot control you, so we don't want you near us.
Yeah. And so Kenny, of course, wants to know more, right? Like, what do you mean by that? And Kenny's grandpa, he simply says that I can't tell you because I don't know, right? It's true that our family was once honored, trusted by the king, which Lexi just mentioned or reminded. But Kenny's grandpa goes, more than that. From what I was told, well, you just said, they were once the king's sword, right? He says for generations, each king passed the power of the Titans to his successor. Now, of course, you know that Kenny is trying to get answers to his questions, right? And much like with Attack on Titan, instead we get more questions, right? So when Kenny's grandfather tells him,
used to be the sword,
each king passes the power of Titans to his successor. Now it raises way more questions because Kenny's like, wait, what power of Titans?
Power of the Titans?
What are you talking about? And then, you know, of course, lacking the knowledge and not being informed himself, Kenny's grandpa says that I don't know how it works or what else there is to it, you know, but the power allows the king to wipe out human memory, which is something that we saw Frida herself do to Historia. We were explained that is ability that the founding Titan has. And he also continues to explain, saying that they not just wipe out human memory, but they erase the past, right? And only a few noble bloodlines are immune. But among them, there were two groups that decided to turn back on the king, the Eastern clan and the Ackerman clan, which is not good for Mikasa because she's from both.
She is, a child of both.
So there's that's explained, right? Which is something that I want to remind us is we talked about it last episode. It happened at the end of last week's episode, but Rod Rice having Eren there, right? And wanting, of course, Historia to reclaim that power, right? They're talking. We talked about at the start of this episode that Rod Rice is having to go through a trip down memory lane, right? And then Kenny arrives and he's like, whoa, hey, what's up with all the chit chat? Let's go ahead and let's do this thing. Like, you know, whatever you need to do to go ahead and take that power, let's go. And then, of course, Rod Rice doesn't want Kenny Ackerman to see this ceremony, to see how it happens, right? And I think that's very important because, he obviously doesn't trust Kenny, of course, right? I mean, who's going to trust Kenny? But again, it's like what Kenny's grandfather just explained, saying that, I mean, hey, like, we don't know how it works. We just know that the power of the Titans, right, gets passed on from each generation to its successor, and that this ability, he explains, has, the ability to wipe out, memories and erase the past, right? Which is something that happens from, what am I thinking of with, it's something that happens where we actually, they talked about a little bit, I think a couple episodes ago, where they're like, how come we don't remember that, or something of a moment that happened with Titans. I can't recall exactly. I want to say it's something that happened like, well, oh man, you know what?
I'm not remembering.
I'm sorry,
either.
It's not coming to me.
I don't remember.
But I was trying to come up with an example of a moment that the past was erased. I don't want to go to like King Fritz or anything. I thought I was going to come up with something a little bit more relatable to what we talked about, but for whatever reason, it escaped my mind. And I'm sure it'll come to me randomly once we're done streaming.
Yeah, once we're done.
Usually what happens.
Dang it!
But regardless, guys, I mean, again, this is a very powerful ability to have, and it's something that Rod Rice very desperately wants to take back. And then we get this weird, not weird, but like Kenny, he informs his grandfather that he found his little sister, right? Kenny has a little sister, and that she's working in this brothel underground. Right. I mean, she got knocked up by a customer. Yeah. Right. So.
And she's keeping it.
She's keeping it. Right. Even though Kenny told her to get rid of it. Yeah. Get rid of that thing, But he's saying that, like, again, who wants to be born in this world, right? Yeah. He's saying that for people like they shouldn't have dreams because their dreams aren't worth suffering for, right?
Worth suffering for in this world.
Hey, that means that Levi's father was just some random customer. Yeah. Right? Spoiler alert. Yeah. We know that this little sister that Kenny is referring to is going to be Levi's mom. Yeah. Right? And I don't know if Kyron's saying lucky because of the lucky customer who gets to go ahead and fornicate with this Ackerman woman. With Levi's mom. I don't know what you're referring to, Kyron, but maybe it's that.
Who's lucky? Who's lucky?
Yeah, who's the lucky? Yeah. But man, yeah.
And Eddie says that Kenny was quite the stud when he was younger.
Yeah, he definitely looked like he was quite the stud for sure. Yeah. Cleaned
up a little bit younger.
Yeah. But man, we're getting so much insight, and again, these characters, they're getting these little tiny nuggets of knowledge. That is only going to open a door to even grander scale of things, right? And again, like you talked about, it's happening all at once here, with as the days pass, as each day passed for these characters, something even crazier happens, and something, like unreal happens or whatever, there's a breach, they're fugitives, whatever it is, Aaron's captured again, now his story is captured again. Oh my gosh, talking about now founding Titan abilities. Everything is so crazy, right? But then it's important here to see that Kenny himself is reflecting. Like, we're getting this memory because Kenny himself, as he waits for Levi to,
he's thinking like,
go ahead and arrive and try to take back Aaron and Historia, that Kenny's he's thinking about things. He's thinking about his past. He's thinking about the Ackerman clan. He's thinking about his grandfather, right? Now he's taking a trip down memory lane, which he obviously was trying to tell Rod Rice not to do. Yeah. Hey, let's go, right? I know. Now we
can talk about this later.
Now he's taking a trip down memory lane.
Looking at a knife.
Yeah.
Probably looking at his own reflection, thinking like, gosh, look how far I've come.
What the hell happened to you?
You used to be a looker.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so now we get a little bit more information about the Ackerman clan. Okay, so now we have just a little bit left over one final little part of the episode. So without further ado,
2 hours.
Yep. So without further ado,
keep her going.
It's my turn to narrate. You ready, Lex?
Yes, I am.
So Levi and his squad have now arrived to the chapel. Hanji, examining, she alerts.
Found it. A hidden door. Rice and Aaron should be inside. Hopefully the layout's close to what I predicted.
Levi states, these presents better pay off, considering the time we spent prepping them.
And just on the other side of that hidden door, inside the underground chapel, we see Kenny's squad waiting. Kaven tells her squad members,
we count at least 7 enemies, and you can bet Captain Levi's among them. As you all know, last time we caught Levi by surprise, and then he killed 12 of our comrades. The government's been overthrown, which means we're the fugitives now. So I wouldn't count on getting any backup. We're in some deep shit. In this tiny, screwed up world, dying is preferable to what we would get if we decided to surrender. But here's the thing. That's what life in the walls has always been. Nothing's changed. We've got a foe we can't beat, so we stand by and wait for them to break through our walls and kill us. We fought to be military police, and then interior police. And now, we're Kenny's elites. We did this to find purpose in our meaningless lives. In this meaningless world, I see no cause to believing now. I see no cause to stop believing now. If Kenny and his dream can't turn this game around, he'll flip the board.
And then we see Kenny Dunn taking a trip down memory lane as he now walks to meet up with his elites. Meanwhile, as Levi and his squad make preparations before barging in, Armin tells Levi and Hanji,
okay, we should be ready to go now.
Then Captain Levi responds,
all right then. Is everyone here ready? Because you're all about to dirty your hands.
And we see the expressions of each Levi squad members. Armin appears ready to dirty his hands again. Sasha, with her bow, appears ready to provide support when needed. Mikasa seems eager to get her hands on the ones that took Eren away from her. Connie seems nervous to jump into the belly of the beast. And John, he seems ready for redemption. And Captain Levi continues,
I guess that's a yes.
Inside the underground chapel, we see Eren again, locked in chains, still dealing with the memories of his father's sin, just staring into the abyss. And we see Kenny's elites in position on higher ground, ready for the scouts to open that door. Kenny continues his slow walk as we see that he has a smirk on his face. To be continued.
Ooh.
Wow.
Okay.
Damn.
So they've made it to the chapel.
They made it to the chapel, and thank goodness for Hanji, because she found this trap door, this hidden door that literally is like this door that's over on the floor, covered by like a rug, right?
It's like a cellar door that's just like not very well hidden.
Yeah.
Something interesting I wanted to touch on though was that Hanji saying like, I hope the layout is pretty close to what I predicted. Mm-hmm. Do you think she was able to predict like this, like Titan hardening fortress? Like,
yeah,
do you think this is what she's predicting? Because I don't think it is.
No, I don't think that.
Because they were talking about like, oh yeah, like cells and whatever, and it's like,
unless somehow in that report it gives a description about the layout of what is underground, because we know that,
or at least gives like the square foot, or not square footage, but you know, at least gives the size.
That was still there. Right, when Grisha decided to go to infiltrate and stuff, right? I mean, it's not like this is something that is completely new. Yeah. That it was built, you know, upon, you know, the chapel itself being destroyed 5 years later.
It's the same
This is something that, I mean, it's always been kind of had this kind of like hardened, crystallized fortress, right?
Yeah.
And again, maybe just
what is Hanji predicting?
I don't know if necessarily that was available in the report, but I mean, again, I'm not going to go ahead and put anything past Hanji, because we know how bright she is, and and we've seen already with some theories that she has, she's pretty much on the nose.
Yeah, they're pretty spot on.
You know,
Except for that one digging Titan one. That's the only one that she wasn't close to.
Eddie, thank you so much. I appreciate that. He says, my God, the way AJ scripts this. I mean, it's not me, my friend. It
very
is
well spoken.
It's the story. It's, it's there.
Just writing what I see.
That's what it is, man. I'm just trying to go ahead and exactly just come up with the script, write what is there, what I'm seeing as we're just kind of examining and dissecting and, just want to make it obviously entertaining for all of us, us, me and Lexi, who are here doing this, and for all of you as well listening and joining us, in chat. We want to make it interesting for you guys.
Yeah.
And so we know when we get the to be continued moments, we have to make them juicy, we have to make them good, right? And we have to want
the anime.
Yeah, and we have to, we want it leaving us wanting more.
Yeah.
Right?
Even though we know what's going to happen, you still can't help but still, even though you could have seen these episodes a million times, still that to be continued is still always hits.
Shoot, Kyron was telling us last week about a moment that he rewatched, and it was like he had the same kind of reaction to when he watched it for the first time.
I gotta watch the next one, and it's like, oh wait, I've seen all this before.
Yeah, so it's really cool.
Kyron says exactly.
Yeah, and but man, so. We're going to know what Levi refers to, what he means when he's referring to these presents, right? Obviously, they're going to be like these large barrels of essentially these barrels that they're going to use as bombs.
Yeah. They're not wine. It's not ale.
And so that's where the presents that he's referring to. Yeah. Drink up, guys. Yeah.
There's spinal fluid in there.
But again, so interesting is that we get a cool little pep talk from Kaven. Right, and we get some insight about where this she refers to the Kenny's elites, right? Yeah. Where they came from, right? And it's cool because they're obviously preparing, just like how Levi was preparing his squad for the
bloodshed,
the enemy that is Kenny, the Ripper. Kaven, the same thing. It's like there's going to be 7 enemies, which means. You can bet Captain Levi's gonna be one of them. And then she says the last time we caught Levi by surprise, he killed 12 of us.
Yeah.
So
be prepared.
Be prepared. And she also she's saying government's been overthrown. We're fugitives again, and I wouldn't count any backup. Right? She says we're in deep shit, and then she goes and she's not trying to sugarcoat anything. Right? This is a pep talk that isn't necessarily the most positive. But then she kind of does spin it to where she's like, look, this world, right, that we live in, it's screwed up, right? And guess what? If we die, that's probably what we prefer.
Yeah, that's probably better than getting tortured.
Than surrendering. And she goes, the thing is, she says, here's the thing. That's what life in the walls has always been, right? Nothing's changed. If we got a foe we can't beat, we stand and we wait for them to break through the walls and kill us. Yeah. Right? Which is a sad fact and sad realization, right?
Unfortunately.
But then again, talking about where they came from, she says that we fought to be military police. And then we, became interior police. And now we are Kenny's elites, right? She said, we did this to find purpose, right? In all of our meaningless lives, in this meaningless world, right? There's no reason to stop believing now. And then I like this cool little moment. She says, if Kenny and his dream can't turn this game around, he'll flip the board.
Yeah, she has so much, what's the word I'm thinking of? Loyalty, I guess. So much loyalty towards Kenny and the cause.
Yeah, and we've actually talked about, because we've got a few moments of, just kind of seeing how they speak to each other.
How they interact,
right?
yeah.
Obviously, it seems like Kenny is very full of himself, and Kaven herself is very kind of she's kind of going along with it in a kind of a sarcastic way, okay, sir, blah blah blah, whatever, right? Maybe we should go ahead and go about business, or whatever the case is, right? And so we've kind of talked about it, both of us, where it's like, man, you think she's kind of fed up with Kenny's antics, right?
Yeah,
maybe,
but for the cause. But
in this cause, shoot, it sounds like Kenny. And choosing them to be, his elites, kind of like with Levi choosing his, squad members, right, to be his Levi squad. It's like Kenny gave them all a purpose, right? And, if they trained to just be military police, that means they just wanted to be content and safe and not do much, because we know with military police, unfortunately, they don't They don't have the work ethic.
Some cozy idle
They
lives.
don't have the passion to go ahead and fight for, humanity. I mean, it involves a lot of drinking and playing different card games and stuff, gambling and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And with Kenny kind of being this person that gives them meaning, it's like, man, they have so much, like, there's obviously respect, but it's almost like admiration and with Kenny being there, it's this feeling like we can do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we talked about with Levi. It's like you have this person, the captain, who is like, man, like, hey, I feel much better about going into this with Levi, right?
Yeah.
The same thing with them. If Kenny's there fighting alongside them, then it's like, man, you know what? We can totally do this. And hey, if we don't, death is better than just,
There's always a brighter side
than being tortured by Premier Zachary.
Yeah.
Hey.
Look at the silver lining.
But man, you know what? Kenny, he obviously is done reflecting, done thinking about his past and getting answers and stuff like that, remembering about the Ackerman clan, because now it's time for business, and he goes and he's slowly makes his way. He's walking like just an absolute badass, like he knows, he's going to be like one late to the party, but he's going to be the party.
Yeah. He is the party.
Yeah.
Fashionably late.
And then, of course, Levi's checking to see if his squad's ready. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure they're probably not ready. They don't want to do this, with the exception of Mikasa, because obviously Mikasa wants Eren back. But I mean, hey, the rest of them. I mean, it's cool that we get some. We see their expressions and kind of getting a little bit of insight of what they're kind of thinking and what they're feeling, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why I try to go ahead and describe it with what I interpreted. I don't know if you interpreted the same, but with Armin, he kind of had this look of like a little bit of numbness, where he's like, essentially like I've already done this before.
Yeah,
like
I
there's
just
no
gotta
reason
do
to
it
be
again.
afraid
I've already
anymore.
done this. Do what I gotta do.
And it seems like he's ready. It
doesn't really seem like I was saying earlier, like the whole time wise, it doesn't really seem like they have a lot of time to reflect on what they've done.
Yeah.
So it's more of just like, numbness, just being like, I'm not gonna think about, like, I'm not gonna be emotionally attached to any of this. I'm just gonna do it. Yeah. Which honestly might be the best strategy.
Yeah. And then with Sasha, I mean, we talked about with Sasha, I mean, while she might have some fear, she's very instinctual, right? And she
still has those hunter's instincts.
Yeah.
Even when they captured those guys that were feeling up Armin, thinking that he was Krista or Astoria, how there was no hesitation with Sasha just to be like, if you move again, this next arrow is going through your head. Yeah. Like, do not test me.
Which is why
and I believe her.
That she, like, as I described, is that she's ready to provide support when needed, because she is excellent at providing support. And then as we see Mikasa, of course, she's just standing there against the wall, and we see she's just like,
she is
a caged animal who's just ready to be unleashed.
She just needs to. Obviously, when Eren's involved, we understand how Mikasa is.
Connie is the one that looks the most nervous. We see he has a look of fear in his eyes. Yeah. Right? But I mean, again, for him,
he understands what that's.
There's no turning back now. Yeah. He can't be that guy. Jean himself, it looks like there's a little bit of. There's definitely nerves. We see there's like a bead of sweat, right? But we see that he's like keeping a brave face, and he's almost like telling himself like no, like don't. You're not going to do that again. You're not going to freeze up again.
Hesitate.
You got this. You're not going to hesitate. He seemed like he's definitely ready for redemption. Yeah. He's ready to go ahead and prove to the captain that, he can depend on him. Right.
And then I like Levi's response, which I guess that's a yes.
Yeah, because I mean, again,
no one said anything. Like, they're all mentally preparing, bro.
As we're talking about it, we're interpreting what their faces are showing, right? But
and
with
what
Levi,
he's understanding.
Levi, he's just seeing the silence, or he's hearing the silence, and he's seeing their faces. Yeah. Right. And that's when, like you said, he's like, I guess that's a yes. Yeah. Essentially, nobody said no, so I guess that's a yes.
That's a yes. So let's go.
Yeah.
And Kenny just seems so excited.
Yeah. Kenny, obviously, we see with smirk on his face.
It's like bittersweet to him, I think.
Well, we also see how juiced up Kenny gets whenever he has to go ahead and compete and fight against Levi. It's something that he's been waiting for. Obviously, he's been kind of
finally a good fight.
From afar, he's been keeping a close eye on Levi, right? But like you said, this is, you know, he's actually going to be able to go ahead and be competitive, you know, against Kenny, and you know, good competition is good.
Yeah,
you know. But then very quickly, I want to go ahead and touch on Eren and how we see Eren again. He's just essentially just still, his mind is stuck and lost in what he saw, right? We see he's just again in this frozen state.
Yeah, still chained up. And
before we saw him trying to fight and wrestle away from the chains, you know, trying to break himself free. He's you know, putting up a fight. This time now he's just, you know, there, and he's.
It looks like he's trying to decide, like, what am I fighting for? Like, he's like trying to like figure out, like, what am I fighting for again? Like, look at all that's happened. Like, there's so much that I don't know. What is this fight for? He's like trying to find his fight again.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
while he's chained up in like a. Dang, my dad really did this. Maybe I should just.
You know what?
And we'll get more of that in the next episode.
Again, we talked about Levi kind of losing that fight for a moment. Talked about Irvin losing that fight for a moment. Now we see Eren losing that fight for a moment. Yeah. And, you know, it's just, again, what certain things that you experience, certain things that you witness, certain things that you see can be very, very tough to keep you motivated. And this is something what, again, with Eren, he witnesses those memories, his father's memories, and they're so shocking and they're so, like, paralyzing that we see that Eren himself doesn't have the fight anymore. And it's something we're going to see, you know, as we continue on with the story, that he's going to be okay with Historia reclaiming that power.
Yeah.
But of course, that's something to go ahead and talk about for future episodes. So is there anything else you want to go ahead and touch on in this episode, Lex? Do we have any other final thoughts? Our friends here joining us, if you guys have any other things that you want to go ahead and ask or talk about, Heisey, awesome. Heisey says, I wish we learned more about the Ackerman clan, and I agree. I'm even into the same thing, the same mindset with Mikasa's other side of her family with the Eastern clan, you know, the Eastern part of her family, because we know that they arrived.
Find out more, because there's a lot of history on both sides.
And it's very, very fascinating, because then we get more understanding about Mikasa, of course, you know? Like, Mikasa, she obviously is a very crucial and important character. Sorry. For whatever reason, I didn't hear any music anymore. And
it's just, yeah.
I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and play a certain song, which is going to be very, very...
Fitting?
Fitting, of course, yeah.
Just plays a completely different song.
That is a different song?
Yeah.
There it is.
There we go. Perfect
ending. Okay, this song is, of course, the ending theme for the Call of Silence.
Closing.
But yeah, I agree. I would love to go ahead and hear more and find out more about even just Kenny's, his interpretation, his memories, his, you know, remembering of the Ackerman clan, you know? Like, that would be really, really awesome.
Yeah.
And, man, yeah, I definitely want to go ahead and learn more about that, because that's, I remember when we knew that we were going to be doing a breakdown and go ahead and talk about the episodes in chronological order.
Yeah.
One thing that I was fascinated about was, of course, a few things. Well, there's a lot of things, but one of the main ones was the Ackerman clan, right? Understanding more about that. And of course, obviously, Ymir and her origin, right? Talking about Historia's Ymir.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
hearing everyone's
I'm very, very fascinated with Historia's Ymir in that relationship. Because just to go ahead and let you know how I say that is my biggest pet peeve. I have talked about it plenty of times before in this podcast. That's my biggest pet peeve, that Ymir decided to go ahead and surrender to Reina and Bertolt and allowed herself to get eaten by
such a stupid
Porco.
decision.
Because I believe that even though Ymir thought that there was no future inside the walls, guess what? If she would have just stuck it out and just trusted her gut when she was already going back with Historia, that she would have been right there with the person in power, right? And guess what? You go ahead and you're continuing this friendship, relationship, you know, romance, whatever it is, you know, whatever it turns into with Historia. You're inside the walls. Historia is now the queen, and you are going to be her, like with the Ackermans are the sword. Guess what? You become Historia's sword.
Yeah. You are her sword.
It bugs me so much that Ymir just gave up and died.
But like she had to atone.
Yes. Kyron just chimed in and say, "Oh well, the newer Jaw Titan looks way better." And yes, that is
the
true.
newer one looks way better. Yeah, agreed.
Porco's Jaw Titan, it was very, very badass. And of course, watching the anime dubbed and having Kellen Goff being Porco, I mean, shoot, I loved it very, very much. I like, you guys know I'm a fan of Kellen Goff.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and talk about it real quick. Yeah, Eddie agrees. Most definitely, the Eastern Clan could have been a much huge player in this part of the story. Yeah, I mean, but obviously they were shunned and they're away, and they're staying away. You know. Eddie says, but within the walls, and Kyron says, so really the Ackerman clan are like mutant race from X-Men. Yeah, I mean that's what it is, man. They are this very, very strong, you know, clan, you know, who have this power that the government, the powers that be, can't control. You know, and Kyron, so Heisa says the Attack Titan over, and Kyron,
the Warhammer Titan.
Yeah, I'll what is the gambling thing or whatever? It's like your card and I'll
raise.
Yeah, I'll raise. Yeah,
I'll raise you a Warhammer.
See that I'm not like Commander Irvin and I don't gamble.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like Pixis,
I'll raise you a Warhammer. Well, lucky for you guys, they are in the same person now.
Yeah, they're literally in the same person now.
This person has both of them. So
yeah, great point. Yeah. I like that analogy though. The X-Men, the Ackerman.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, because it's very, very true. And I cannot wait until the X-Men go ahead and are introduced into the MCU.
But I have no more final thoughts. I have said them all.
Nothing else?
I do have something to add when we get to Fandomion, though.
Okay, very cool. We have an update for Fandomion. Heisa is the founding over, and guess what?
The founding.
They also have the founding.
He's also in it.
Which is why Heisa's favorite character, one of them, is Eren. Makes sense. See, it's all
he has all three of them
together. It's all aligning. The stars are all, you know, aligning. The dots are all connecting, and they all say Heisa. I love it.
Yeah, they all say Heisa. It says Heisa.
Yeah. All right. So if there's anything else for you guys want to go ahead and put in chat, go ahead and do it. We're going to go ahead and do our usual routine and wrap up the episode. But if we come across any more questions, we will talk about them, guys. It might spiral into a whole other discussion, but you guys know the drill.
You know us.
So with that being said, guys, that wraps up another episode of Attack to Talk podcast. This is season 3. Remember, guys, new episodes will be streamed live on Twitch every Sundays. We did a 6:00 stream today, and we did that because we figured that this might be a little bit of a longer episode, and you know what, we understand that like our friend Kyron joins us, right? And for anybody else that joins us and they're watching from a different, different time. Like for example, Kyron, he is 2 years. He's 2 years later. Yeah, you know. No, he's 2 hours later.
2 years.
And I mean. But yeah, we want to make sure that we don't stay too late.
Yeah.
So we did 6:00. If you guys like it, this is better for you guys.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know. Because we usually do 7:00.
But we understand we go on for a little bit longer.
An hour makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
You know, gives more time. You know, and stuff. And we know that with a lot of us, you know, we have work the next morning. So yeah, see, Kyron says it's 10:21 over there currently. But I see some questions. So actually, Kyron says, I wondered why Eren doesn't use the Warhammer power. Why he doesn't use the powers, but at the end of the newest episode, there is a moment where Eren creates a Beast Titan. Yeah, and I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah,
you know,
like a new Beast Titan skin just dropped.
Like, and
we also see him using it when he's fighting Rhina for the, third.
Yeah, when they're over in back in, isn't Shiganshina still?
Yeah, I want to say, but I know that's when he'll use it to like stab Rhina and stuff, and use it to turn into spikes and stuff. And I think those are really the only 2 times we've seen him utilize the Warhammer abilities. But we got to continue seeing them because that's where we ended in the most recent episode with that Warhammer manifestation of a Beast Titan. So we'll see how he uses that. Yeah.
Very, very cool. I said this was great. Well, it's great for you to join us, Heisa, and we hope that you continue joining us as we go ahead and continue talking about the episodes. We continue, analyzing and learning about Attack on Titan. And we would love for you, Heisa, to go ahead and join us. I mean, this is usually the crew that we have. Obviously me and Lexi will be here, and then Eddie and Kyron. They do a great job of just making themselves available to be here with us. And again, Eddie and Kyron, we appreciate you guys both so much for all of your contributions to the podcast. And obviously. obviously Heise is able to join us because of Kyron and the TikTok. Eddie, of course, has brought people to the podcast already before in past times, and you guys are awesome. We appreciate you guys so much and your support. And Heise, we would love for you to continue supporting us and joining us. This was a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah.
And it seems like you guys like the time slot here of us doing it an hour earlier. So yeah, I think that we can try to do that going forward. And I agree because there's times when we end it and it's not even anywhere near late as late as it is for us, than it is for Kyron.
Yeah.
But it still feels late for us.
Yeah. Because it's a Sunday night, guys.
Yeah.
So we get it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So go ahead and keep up with the Attack the Talk podcast Instagram for more updates on
cool.
that.
Eddie says that actually Aaron uses the Warhammer abilities to escape prison, he says. Ooh, Heise, wow.
It's 11:23
here.
Ooh,
interesting.
Okay,
so
even
you're
later.
over in the East Coast, right? I'm guessing you're over in the East Coast?
Yeah, somewhere near.
Yeah, cool. So, I mean, again, that just even more of a reason for us to thank you for sticking around so late and just talking about the story with us. And we're glad we can make it enjoyable, man. But yeah, so like Lexi mentioned, we're gonna go ahead and make sure we update you guys on the time when we're gonna be streaming, and to get all your updates, make sure you guys follow us at Attack to Talk Podcast on Instagram. That's where we do the updates. It's where we go ahead and post the poll questions, the Q&As. It's all there for you guys. So make sure you guys go ahead and follow it at Attack to Talk Podcast on Instagram, and so you guys can go ahead and make sure you get all of that information.
Yeah. This coming Sunday is Mother's Day, so
that's true. So
stay updated on. We'll keep you guys updated on the story.
There's a good chance that we will not be streaming on Mother's Day because guess what? That day is delegated for mothers and for us to spend time with their mothers, and for anybody who has their mother figure and stuff. We know that with Levi has Kenny as his father figure. Sometimes whoever your mother figure is, hopefully your mother is much nicer than Historia's mother.
Historia's mom, yeah,
because she was probably as worst as they come here in terms of Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a good chance.
We'll keep you guys updated.
That Aaron doesn't have mother.
The one he did have seemed fine.
Yeah.
Seemed fine for a little bit. He was just a little brat. But
Carla seemed like she was an awesome mother. Unfortunately, we lost her way too soon. Obviously, in episode 1.
Yeah.
So shout out to all the AOT mothers out there, good or bad, because next Sunday we'll be all delegated to the mothers. Maybe we'll go ahead and spice it up and talk about some Attack on Titan mothers. Who knows?
Yeah.
Stay
tuned.
We haven't decided on that yet. But yeah, guys. So there's a good chance that we probably will end up be streaming. I don't know. Let's say just for the sake of throwing out a date. Probably. What do you think we can do Saturday?
I have work.
Okay. So maybe not Saturday, but we'll keep you guys updated. And if it is Sunday, and if we do it, you know what? If you guys are able to join us, we appreciate it. And if you don't, we completely understand. So, but to be determined, and make sure you guys go ahead and get your updates over at and on our Instagram page, as we talked about. So, alrighty. We also want to let you guys know that if you guys want to watch the episodes at a later time, right? Episodes are all published on Fridays. Fridays is when the episodes are published to all the many platforms, and the platforms are all available over in our link tree that Lexi made for us, which is awesome. And that link tree is over also in our Instagram profile page. So if you go to the description there of the profile page, there is a link tree available, and you click that link, and it'll show the many platforms that we're on. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, as you guys see here. Different platforms for you guys to go ahead and watch us. If you guys can't watch us live, you guys can go ahead and watch us, tune in when they get uploaded on Fridays. I do want to go ahead and apologize because we did have some technical difficulties with this last episode because as you guys are aware, if you joined us last week, that me and Lexi were having a very, very difficult time with our, as we're streaming, our whole connection and everything, how it was really buffering a lot. And I noticed that with the most recent podcast episode, watching it on Spotify or on YouTube, that it would go ahead and buffer, and that when it would come back, the audio would have like essentially like a 3-second delay. And I know that can be really annoying, so I want to apologize for that. It seems like we're in good shape here, and hopefully we don't come across the same issue.
Yeah,
but,
nothing was, because it was like right from the get-go last week.
Yeah.
It was really frustrating.
Right from the get-go, it was buffering the entire stream, and hopefully we don't have that issue again. But I do want to apologize for anybody that waited and watched it as it got published and had to go ahead and endure and deal with the words not matching. It's kind of like when they dub, they dub.
It was a bad dub on us.
The Japanese movies and stuff, like you see those old school karate films and stuff, and they're like, talking, doesn't match,
Yeah, it doesn't match at all.
Yeah, so apologies.
Kind of what was going on.
But yeah, so episodes published Fridays. You guys can go ahead and catch us on different platforms. Those platforms are available in the link tree. So, of course, we have to go ahead and give a huge shout out to the guy that edits our podcast, and that is our friend Nate at NatePlaysBad. Nate's a very busy guy, and he takes the time to go ahead and make sure that the episode is available for all of us when it gets published on Fridays. And Nate, thank you so much, my friend. You're awesome. You are a big contribution and a big reason why this podcast is doing things and doing what we're doing. A huge reason why we are even able to stream, because I am not tech savvy. And Nate's like, just do this and this and this. And I'm like, all right, cool. Thank you so much. And then we did it, and here we are.
Sure. Whatever you say, Nate. Thank you.
Shout out to Nate. Go ahead and support Nate at his Twitch channel, NatePlaysBad. And yeah, Nate, you're awesome, man. Thank you. So now we got to go and talk about some merch, because I know that Nate doesn't have an update. Lexi does.
Yes, I do.
Lexi has an update for us. For anybody who's looking to go ahead and buy any sort of anime merch, we have some, platforms for you guys to go ahead and check out. To start, over in our link tree, we have a link that is available for you guys, and that is a link to a collector sesh, and that is collector_sesh on Instagram. If you guys want to go ahead and check them out and support them, we came across them over at a swap meet, right? And there are two brothers that we came across, and they're very, very awesome. They're very down to earth, and they're so appreciative. And we were able to go and have awesome discussions with them, and we again, kind of just talked about how we have a podcast, and so they started supporting us, and so we want to support them as well. So long story short, guys, if you guys are interested in any anime merch, go ahead and check out Collector Sesh. Again, we have a link for you guys to use in our link tree. When you click that link, it'll take you to their online store. You can go ahead and browse through the many different anime merch that they have available. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, guys. I mean, I have a lot of merch in here that I got from Collector Sesh. I mean, a lot of Funko Pops. We have a lot of figurines. There's some, I have, what else I got? There's some assorted items there I can't necessarily see per se, but I mean, there's stuff that I've purchased from them, and I
have a Death Note poster I purchased from them that's up in my dorm.
Yeah, I mean, they're awesome guys. Go ahead and check out what they have, guys. I got a
keychain from them that's on my backpack.
Shout out to them. But we also have another link for you guys to use, and that link also has a promo code, and that link is to Fandomion. So in our link tree, there's a link for the Fandomion online store, and if you click that link, it'll take you to their online store, where you guys can go ahead and use that promo code, which is that promo code is LEX, LEX. You guys go ahead and click that link, and you guys go to their online store. They have so much stuff. I mean, they obviously have a ton of anime stuff. Yes. But they also have a lot of alternative stuff. They have a lot of other very, very popular stuff. Anything that's popular. If you guys like Star Wars, if you guys like Marvel, you guys like DC, you guys like... I mean, check it out. They have so much stuff, right? But if you guys see anything that you like, and you guys want to go and buy some merch, Lexi has that promo code LEX that you guys go ahead and use to get 10% off of your guys' purchase. It helps out a lot, guys. It helps Lexi as well. And yeah, it's just a way that we can try to help you guys out with get any sort of kind of discount. But with that being said, Lexi has a little update for us. So Lexi, we'll go ahead. What does Fandomion have up?
Yeah, so Fandomion went ahead and let me know that they have released some new anime merch and some new Wednesday merch. And the animes are, at least the ones that they have shown me here, go from Tokyo Ghoul to Dragon Ball Z to Chainsaw Man to Attack on Titan.
Hell yeah.
So I wonder if I'm able to show you guys. It worked out fine last week. I mean, the last time I showed you guys, but we'll see if it ends up working again. Maybe I just have to turn my brightness all the way up.
It worked. Remember, you were blurry for like the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, and I was blurry for the rest.
Oh, so there we go.
There's Kaneki right there. Here's a new Wednesday hat.
Okay.
That one's a little blurry. And here's the newest Attack on Titan shirt.
Oh, we gotta see that. Oh, who's in the center of the Wings of Freedom?
That would be Aaron.
Aaron himself. Of course, it's Aaron.
If you guys can see that very well, but it looks
you guys
like
can see it.
Mixture of Aaron.
We're at Fandomion.
On Fandomion. Here's the new.
Damn. Okay. Is that Ultra Instinct?
And then here's a Denji from Chainsaw Man.
Okay. I have to watch that.
Here's another Kaneki Tokyo Ghoul one, front and back. That one's really cool.
Yeah.
And
I know. Heisei definitely is Kaneki.
Front and back.
Kaneki has a lot of different.
Of Chainsaw Man. More
nice.
Kaneki. And yes, that is my update for you guys.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Let's see if I'm going to stay blurry or if I'm going to.
Oh. Yeah,
I'm like slowly returning back to my spot.
So, Heisei, I have to go ahead and make sure that you are aware that I love Tokyo Ghoul. I love it.
Yeah,
and again, it's all thanks to Lex.
That's another anime that me and AJ watched together, that I made him watch.
The anime that Lexi had me go ahead and watch was obviously we started with My Hero.
Yeah, I had you start with My Hero.
And that was awesome. And then this is all like quarantine, right? So this is probably like 3 or so years ago.
So this is when we were like binging.
Yeah, we love the name Heisei for sure, and it's awesome. I'm low key kind of jelly because it's a great name, and it has a great moment too where Heisei literally is saying his name. First anime I've ever watched. Yeah, so that's the thing is I have revisited that anime already plenty of times. It's when you go ahead and you watch it, right? In a weird way, it kind of became like a comfort anime that I can just throw on and kind of just like, all right, because it's very enjoyable. Not to say the other ones aren't, but I mean, again, it just has that kind of feel, like you said, the first anime that you've watched, and if for whatever reason, like when you watch it, it's just like, man, it brings back those feelings of watching it for the first time.
It's almost like it's like nostalgia.
Yeah, but so yeah, Lexi had me watch. Started with My Hero, and then we went to Attack on Titan, and then we went to Tokyo Ghoul, and then we went to Death Note, right? Yeah, and then we went on to other ones as well
that we haven't really finished.
Yeah. It took a while for me to finally finish Hunter x Hunter, but I did.
Oh yeah, and then I recommended you Hunter x Hunter.
I'm so mad at myself for stopping right at the start of the Chimerian arc.
Oh, season 3 of Demon Slayer is out, so
yeah,
you need to watch season 2.
Yeah, season 2.
But I understand that you're watching like you're the type of person that's like you can only watch one anime at a time.
Yeah, but you know what? I think I'm kind of like in limbo right now with anime.
Because are you just rewatching One Piece episodes?
No. I'm watching One Piece again.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm currently watching One Piece. One Piece is insane, but I'm watching it dubbed, and right now they're still in the Wano arc. If anybody's familiar with One Piece, I do have to say with One Piece though, we've talked about it before. We've talked about it plenty of times before over in the podcast. But the live action Netflix version and how obviously I have my concerns and everything, right? But we're getting updates, from man. You know what? It's tough because they had a test screening, and I guess what happened was for like casual fans, it was hard for them to go ahead and kind of follow along and understand, right? And man, you know what? I guess the test screening wasn't very good, which I was obviously afraid of.
Yeah,
but not the fact that they couldn't necessarily follow along and understand the complete premise of the anime. But the characters look very, very kind of like cartoony, which I'm like, dude, like. It's based off an anime, like, a character has green hair. I don't know. It's kind of hard to really kind of think that's real. Like, people have green hair. They go and they color their hair, like, don't make it so freaking serious. Yeah. But then also the tone of it as well. Like, people are saying like the tone jumps from goofy to serious to, like having these like kind of more sentimental, like, dude, like, I don't know. Long story short, because of the screening and because of course Netflix wants to make it pleasing to all audiences, casuals and all, that they are doing rewrites and they're changing it up, and I'm afraid now it's not going to be as authentic. And I recently saw this past weekend, I believe it was Friday, that man, the One Piece creator himself had to do some damage control on social media and put out a letter having to explain that he essentially thought that what they were going to be putting out there was going to be enjoyable for everybody, but it's about coming to a common ground, something that's enjoyable for everybody, right? And that, that while they're going to go ahead and find a way to make it pleasing to everybody, he said that still he needs to go ahead and ultimately have his approval, right? And be happy with what the product is going to be. But when I hear this, and I'm like, man, you know what? I obviously already had bad feelings going into it, right? But now I'm not that excited about it. I already know that it's just, for anybody that's a One Piece fan, they watch, a live action interpretation of any anime, that it's going to be a rough watch, So there's just my little update.
Yeah, but, that's your rant.
Yeah, so Kyron says that watch this 12 episode anime called Erased. It's so good. Do you have that over on your?
Yeah, I've watched Erased.
You've watched it?
Yeah, I've seen Erased.
Nice. I haven't seen it. Kyron
I think I've watched it twice.
Whoa, so it must be good.
Or no, I think I watched it one full way through, and then I'd watched bits and pieces of it again because I wanted to remind myself of it, because I thought that it was really good when I watched it. I just, as many people do, it's just the ending is good. There's just some aspects of the ending that are
yeah,
but it's still good. It's pretty good for 12 episodes. It's pretty in depth.
Nice.
It's a pretty in depth anime. I recommend it.
Last part of my rant. It's only 8 episodes of live action AOT for season 1. I mean, live action. I wish live action AOT.
I know. I was like,
it's
what?
only 8 episodes of a live action One Piece that's going to go ahead and try to, I guess, focus on 2 seasons. How sad is that? Like, they're literally having to go ahead and rush the introduction of these characters, and then they're going to jump right into the story. Yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh. So you're going to have 8 episodes. And man, but anyway, so yeah, Heisa says, I watched a video comparing Kaneki and Eren, and it was very good. Yeah, I think I have heard of the comparisons between those 2 characters, and I think there's very, very kind of weird similar
just these young
ideologies a little bit and stuff, know, like similar kind of motivations
trying
and
to
stuff.
Protect the people you love.
And yeah, I haven't necessarily seen that. I mean, that'd be super interested to go and see that. Maybe I'll go and look it up. Kyron says also this show called Attack on Titan. Giant people eat not giant people. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. I recommend Erased and this one little show called
this little one called Attack on Titan. It's kind of like a little, smaller anime for sure, But Heise has a question saying, I have a question for both of you. How do you personally, how do you think that AOT will end? Ooh. You know what? I personally think that Attack on Titan is going to end on such a very, very sweet and tender note. Everybody's going to be so happy. No, I think that...
Yeah. Everyone's going to die.
Unfortunately, everybody's heart is going to be ripped out of their chest, and it's going to end in a very sad way. And
we're going to have no questions answered. And
yeah. From
stop it, AJ.
from what we have all seen with Attack on Titan is that, one, don't get comfortable, right? Don't get complacent. Don't get attached, right? And be prepared to be feeling sad. And one thing we've joked about, but also have been sad about, is that as these episodes end with "to be continued," when you go ahead and if the episode ends with the same font, that same screen, it just shows the end. That is going to be sad.
I'm going to cry. I already know I'm going to cry when I see that, because it's going to be like, oh, dang, that's the end of an entire era.
Yeah.
I've been watching Attack on Titan. Well, I watched season 1 for Heisa that doesn't know. Attack on Titan was the first anime I ever watched, and I watched it in middle school when it was pretty new. And then I just watched season 1 and was like, all right, that's it. I got hooked on a bunch of other animes. I got hooked on Death Note, and I was watching a bunch of other ones, but then I decided, okay, let me introduce it to AJ, and then we'll start watching it together. And that's when we were watching season 2 and on. Or no, I had seen the first 2 seasons. I hadn't seen the third.
Yeah.
So we were watching season 3 and on.
Season 3 and on, yeah.
Yeah, together. And
oh no.
If it follows the manga ending, oh boy.
Oh boy. Yeah. Well, again, we don't know how it's going to end, but we obviously can expect it to be a very, very tough ending.
Yeah. But yeah, from watching Attack on Titan when it first came out, from being so young, 10 years ago. I think I was younger, actually.
Yeah.
I think I watched it when I was 12. And and then like following up again with it. Obviously loving it so much. We have a podcast on it. You know, Attack on Titan's kind of cool, I guess. Right. But yeah, knowing that it's gonna end, unless as funny as it is, I really don't mind that they're doing a season 4, part 3, part 4, part 6, part 7, part 12.
Yeah,
like
more content, the better, baby.
You can keep going. What? You can keep going. I don't mind.
That's content for us to watch and content for us to go ahead and analyze for the podcast.
Talk to you guys about But we've all heard about the speculation of that it's going to end around the same time, 13 years later that Attack on Titan started. Meaning that it will span 13
It'll be
years.
Like the 13 years
same
of a
amount
Titan.
Of time that you are that you have a Titan ability.
Yeah.
Which is
very poetic and
it just makes perfect sense, man. Perfect sense, for sure. But yeah.
Yeah.
I guess when we get that, we'll see.
Also, Heisei, I have a question for you, and this is a question that I've asked some of our friends here. Heisei, if you were to go ahead and cast yourself in a live-action Attack on Titan, which character do you feel like you can be? Which character, maybe in terms of appearance-wise, maybe also in terms of how like you are as a person,
personality,
maybe in terms of a character that you just want to be. And if you say Flock,
then we're gonna be like, oh well.
And be like, all right, well, like you explained, then yeah, I guess Flock, but
I guess,
but yeah, because I know that for me, like a character that I can see myself, I can cast myself as, right? Good catch. It's because it's not connected anymore to the...
Maybe it's because it's so warm in here. It's melting.
Yeah, it's melting. But for me and Eddie himself, who is an aspiring filmmaker who would love to wait for further down in the line in the future to go ahead and do a live action Attack on Titan, agrees that I think I can be casted as Grisha. You know? I think Lexi Ackerman.
Lexi Ackerman.
Yeah.
As Mikasa would be interesting. I don't know if I could.
I see Lexi being Ymir, right?
Yeah, same.
Love it. Heisei says Eren, no doubt. So Heisei wants to be the main character. Okay. Eren, no doubt, doing everything I can to free anyone. That's awesome. Yeah. So, but for me, Grisha, I'd love to go ahead and be Grisha. I could be your father, Heisei.
Be your father.
And then Lexi, I could definitely see Ymir.
Yeah.
Also, I can see Hanji as well. And even just kind of focusing over on this character, in recent episodes. I mean, shoot, maybe even a little bit of Frida.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Too bad we don't get a whole lot of her.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, that'd be cool. Kyron says, I'm definitely Connie.
Yeah.
Love it, man. Yeah, Connie would be that'd be a fun character to go ahead and play. For sure.
Yeah, that one would for sure be one of the fun ones.
But
like Connie or Sasha, they'd be fun to play.
Yeah. So in terms of One Piece, I just say that's tough. I haven't seen One Piece, but I definitely feel it. Yeah, I mean that's how it is with any live action and adaptation. Is that they're always going to go ahead and pick and choose what they want to focus on, and we're going to miss a lot of whatever the story, all of it in its entirety. Which is why I've been on record to say that if I want a live action AOT, hopefully Eddie's working for them by then, but HBO. From what I saw with The Last of Us,
and
I
then
think
even
that
some Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, shoot, man, there's a lot of Game of Thrones when you see how the villages look and stuff like that, and some of the effects. I'm like, they could definitely pull off live action AOT. Yeah, it would require a lot of budget, but you literally broke that thing, Lex, or what?
No, I don't know what's going on with it. It just doesn't want to stay up.
Oh.
It's saying stop the podcast already.
Yeah. Alrighty.
I'm just gonna.
Aaron, no doubt. Doing anything, can love it. Connie up. Kyron says, hey Aaron, how does it feel to have your own roof over your head again? Huh? And yeah. I say I cry every time I watch Marco. Any episodes with him? Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. That's
You've talked about Marco
tough.
before too, as well. Yeah. I mean, Marco is a character where he's been gone for so long, but he's still very, very relevant to a lot of these characters, and they're the reason why they're fighting him. Shoot, like look what it his death meant for Jean and his character development. So,
Heisei, let us know if you agree. But we talked about how we would fan cast if there was a live action, and we kind of fan casted Marco to be Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, we get
because of how warm and Like he's just got such like a warm like smile, like aura to him, like just so friendly.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's up there in age. You know, can't deny that fact. But I mean, we get Andrew Garfield energy from Marco.
Yeah,
right.
I forget how old Andrew Garfield is.
Yeah, he's like in his 40s.
Yeah, that's freaking insane.
Yeah. But I mean, again, we get that kind of vibe. I love it, Eddie. Wait, AJ, no. HBO Max will be working for me.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, Eddie, dream big. Let's go.
Do your thing, man. Just don't forget about me, okay? Just don't forget about me. All right, guys. Very, very fun. We appreciate you guys so much. We're approaching a long time. Wait. He's in his 40s? Look it up.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield is...
Look it up.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up.
I think he is. I want to say he's in his early 40s. I could be wrong. Maybe he's late 30s. You let me know, Lex.
He is 39.
Damn, 1 year shy.
He's 1 year shy of 40.
But that's still close. Hey, we were rounding up, right?
Hey, Tobey Maguire is 47.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is 39, which is insane.
Oh, guess what? Hysis says yes or Hayden Christensen.
I have to see that dude's face.
Yeah, you know what? I just saw the most heartwarming video of one of the Star Wars events. Yeah, it's Anakin.
It's
Annie.
That's Annie.
Yeah, it's Annie.
Oh my god.
It's when
how old is Hayden Christensen now?
He's probably around the same age as Andrew Garfield, I think.
I'm actually currently watching Star Wars for the first time ever.
Wow.
And I just finished the first two trilogies.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the last movie of the first trilogy, I think that one is Revenge of the Sith. It's my favorite.
Nice.
That's my favorite one.
Good one. You're not gonna watch the Rise of the Jedi. I mean, the Rise of the Skywalker one.
No, I'm gonna keep watching. I'm just not doing it in perfect chronological order with everything that's out, because obviously there's like animated series and then like Andor. Like there's just like a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna watch all of the main movies and then probably Mandalorian for Pedro Pascal, and then that's probably gonna be it.
Interesting.
So I think the next one is Rogue. No, I think Rogue One's next.
Okay.
I don't remember, but I'm gonna watch I have the third trilogy left.
Nice.
But Hayden Christensen is 42.
Okay, so he's 3 years older. But yeah, I wanted to go ahead and mention with Hayden Christensen is that I saw this awesome YouTube video, and it is him being introduced at one of the most recent Star Wars events.
Okay.
Right? Don't know exactly what the event was, right? But there's just so many fans surrounding this platform where the host is, and she gives us awesome introduction to Hayden Christensen.
Cool.
Hayden Christensen gets announced. They're playing, of course, the awesome March of the Empire. I think that's what the song is, right? And then he goes and he joins the hosts. Yeah, he joins the host. He sits down and he is overwhelmed with just the fans' just love for him. And he's so sweet. And to go along and really agree with your Marco comparison here is that Hayden Christensen literally tells the host, he has a mic and he's just like, wow, wow, stop it. You know, he goes, you guys are making me emotional.
He's a softie.
You know, and then the more they show him love, you can see it in his eyes. He's actually like he's trying so hard not to like tear up, you know, and stuff. And then the host asks him, you know, about like, so what has been the best like reception that you've gotten, you know, being, you know, like Darth Vader and all that. And he just like, this, you know, like,
he's like this right now.
And then the crowd goes crazy
people
for him.
aren't booing me for being the villain.
Yeah, but the thing is, again, like,
I've also heard of a lot of people comparing Eren Yeager to Anakin.
Wow, see, that's so crazy. Like the stars all align. My goodness gracious, that is another awesome
what
comparison.
I like said when I was
yes,
when I was watching Revenge of the Sith.
That's what it is.
Like I was watching it with my boyfriend, and like I like literally when it got to the point where like it was like the turning point of like when he starts to turn like evil.
Aaron.
No, I literally was like, is that not Eren Yeager? I was like, that's literally Eren. I was like, he's giving me Eren vibes right now. And he was like, yeah, he does give Eren vibes. And I was like, oh my God, just everything is compared to Attack on Titan.
Just compare everything going forward in our lives with Attack on Titan.
You should have seen me at the Mario movie, man. I was comparing everything to them.
But yeah, that's exactly right. I say it was a Star Wars celebration. And I love that name that you just threw out there, Hayden Christensen, for sure. Yeah, after what I saw, I mean, I definitely agree. Alrighty, guys. Yeah, this has been fun. We're approaching 3 hours, and I know it's late for a lot of you. I know it's late for Heise. It's late for Kyron for sure. And you know, we just have one last thing to go ahead and talk about, guys, and we want to go, of course, show love for our very artistic friends, and so to go ahead and do some art talk real quick, guys. Another link that we have in our link tree is we have a friend, Caesar. Mm-hmm. He has art that he goes and he makes, and he's very, very talented. So he has his Etsy store, and then our link tree is linked to his Etsy store. His name is Caesar, and you can go ahead and follow him on Instagram at ArtofCesar. Another Eddie, our friend, has also met Caesar a handful of times already now, and
at some art walks.
Yeah, some art walks and stuff. And of course, Eddie will go ahead and we'll shout you out in a bit. But yeah, with Caesar, make sure you guys go ahead and if you guys are interested in looking at some art, he's done some awesome Attack on Titan pieces of art recently, and yeah, go to his Instagram. Go check him out, art_of_Caesar. And if you guys like what you're seeing, he has some stuff available. And again, you can go to his Etsy store via our link in our link tree. It'll take you to his Etsy store. And I believe he has like 20 different pieces of art that he has available for purchase. Yeah, go ahead and support the guy. He's awesome. And another guy that we had awesome conversation with and stuff over at Frank & Sons. Mm-hmm. A really, really cool dude. But of course, as I mentioned with Eddie, yeah, Eddie also is another very creative, artistic mind. As I mentioned, he has aspirations to become a filmmaker, and what he also does is he's an artist as well. If you guys want to go ahead and support Eddie, you guys can go ahead. Mind. You guys can go ahead and go and find Eddie at Art de Juan. That's Art de Juan. Go ahead and check out that Instagram. Go and support Eddie. Eddie also has a YouTube channel where he goes and he makes videos helping out, learning how to skate and stuff. He does other videos as well, just kind of helping out with everyday life stuff. And he also does edits for Attack on Titan, of course. Mm-hmm. So go ahead and check that out as well over at Eddie's YouTube at his name, Eddie Hinston. Shout out to Eddie. Shout out to Kyron as well. We have Kyron, friend of the show, of course, our TikTok guru.
Yeah, as well as a photographer.
He is, yeah, he's a photographer. Go check out Portraits by KA, who we talked about one of his responses. Yeah, Kyron's been doing some photography. To go and check out his work, go ahead and check out his Instagram, Portraits by KA. Mm-hmm. We want to support each other here, guys. Hi, Steve. If you have any other things that you want us to go and shout out, of course, let us know. If you have any art that you're interested in or that you do anything creatively and stuff, you know, that's what we do, man. We go ahead and we want to support each other. And you know, we're all just an awesome family community, and we're all just fans of Attack on Titan. And yeah, and Heise, that's right. You did mention, I wanted to get to that, Heise, but you mentioned earlier about shouting us out on TikTok, and we really appreciate that so much, Heise. And we appreciate you again. This is one thing you'll realize is that this is a recurring thing at the end of every episode is us showing our appreciation, and it's because what it is. More. It's true, man. You know, never ever would have you ever thought that we would have really created this awesome connection with you guys just through this platform, which is this podcast, and we're so appreciative of it. You guys are so amazing. We've said it plenty of times already where just the process could be tiring, but the fact that when we stream and you guys join us, man, makes it all so much worth it, because you guys make it so enjoyable.
You guys are the fruit.
And yeah, you guys are awesome. We love you guys all so much, and the more the merrier. So if you guys go and shout us out, we appreciate it. And let's bring on some more AOT friends. You know, let's grow this thing, because that's what, you know, we have aspirations ourselves of where we want this podcast to go. And the truthfully is we need your guys' help. Yeah, you know,
bring a friend to next stream.
Yeah,
next stream is bring a friend.
Yeah, on Mother's Day. Yeah,
on Mother's Day. Yeah, no, bring your mom on.
Yeah, bring your mom, and we'll go ahead and we'll have some fun. You know, just chatting AOT with all the moms out there.
Yeah.
But of course, I want to shout out, of course, again, Kyron, for really just. Again, spreading the word and getting somebody who's interested in coming up with an awesome little intro theme for us, you know? Yeah. Like, again, that
would be cool.
Mind-blowing.
Background music.
And then we'll make sure we stay in contact and communication, and you know, we'll see if we can get that thing going. But that'd be a lot of fun, and that'd be really cool, and yeah. So shout out to all of our friends, man. You guys are awesome. So with that being said, guys, remember to look out for future Q&As and future poll questions on the Instagram. You guys' feedback is needed and very much appreciated. You guys know. Shout out to the loyal listeners. Shout out to everybody that goes and spends their time with us, spends their Sundays with us, and takes time out of you guys' day to go ahead and just join us. And even if you're not joining us in chat, if you guys are just listening along, we appreciate you guys so much. If you guys want to go ahead and watch them, of course, in a future time or when they get uploaded over on Fridays, anytime you guys go ahead and take the time out of your days just to go ahead and support us is awesome. We appreciate it. And yeah, we're just so thankful for the love that you guys show us. Shout out, of course, to the Attack Talk Levi squad. We love you guys so much.
Shout out to you guys. You guys are all so awesome.
And finally, guys, you guys know the drill. Just try to have that positive mindset, right? Eddie says, I'm going to get into AOT's official Instagram and get the followers to join. That'd be awesome. Can you imagine that? If we're able to get some AOT followers from the official Attack Talk Instagram, and shoot, why not become the official Attack on Titan podcast?
Yeah.
Right?
That would be so cool.
Bring on the sponsorships, shoot. I know. We'll go ahead and
we're in partnership with Attack on Titan official.
That'd be cool. You know what?
That'd be really cool.
We'll go ahead and we'll venture over to studios and do some podcasts over there and stuff, We'll go ahead and we'll continue on talking the journey over in headquarters of Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
Right?
That'd be so
awesome
cool.
guests we can go ahead and talk about.
Taking
we'll generate we've talked about Isayama. If he's on, we have questions and we want to know.
Yeah, that's when the 10-hour stream would be.
Yeah. And yeah, that'd be awesome. We'll go ahead and we'll get this thing going. We'll generate the popularity and stuff. We'll make sure that we get the funds to where we can go ahead and follow you guys out to join us. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
And that way you guys aren't just joining us here in chat. You guys could be joining us in studio. Again, it's all just aspirations that we have for this podcast going forward. And man, how awesome would that be? Being able to go ahead and be all in the same room together and just chatting and doing our thing, man, and just making this podcast awesome. So that's all we got for you guys. Spread that love and positivity. Attack Talk loves you guys. We hate. We love. Cliche and simple. But again, just have that positive mindset. Be a positive. Just a reason why maybe you can go ahead and spread some positivity into somebody else's life. You never know, guys. Eddie says we're like the spokesperson for AOT. Hey, your words.
Just big fans.
Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll continue on. We'll be back next week, guys. Again, we'll make sure we keep you informed on when we will be streaming. But yeah, we'll see you guys again shortly. This has been fun. This is AJ signing off and saying I love you guys so much. And Lexi, go ahead and say your goodbyes and we'll be out of here.
All right. Bye, guys. Be safe this week. I'll see you guys next week.
All right. Bye. Ciao, guys. You guys have a good weekend and a good week.
Love you.